In this episode, we sit down with Tom Moir, the founder of FFS Lures, which he started in 2018. Tom is a self-taught soft lure manufacturer with a specialty in finesse soft plastics and a proud owner of the finest beard we have seen on the show so far. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and remember to subscribe to the podcast. Let's dive in.
Welcome to another episode of the Tuna Gear podcast. I'm Andy. You probably won't recognise Danny because he looks like a 6-year-old child because he shaved his beard off. We'll skip and we'll come back to that in a minute, mate. Today we have Tom Moir from FFS Lures. Yes!
There it is.
Check me out. Check me out. Mate, thank you for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
You've done some travelling with this one.
Yeah, 5.5 hours.
That's up there with some of the furthest travelling guests, I'm going to say. Yeah, mate, I really appreciate it. You're coming down to do some fishing as well, I think.
Going to do some fishing, yeah. Going to meet up some customers tomorrow over in Brixham.
What, a little bit of LRFing on the breakwater?
Yeah, a little bit,
Over on the ICI car park on the other side is some good fishing.
Yeah, we're going to meet at the freshwater quarry.
Freshwater cat, yeah. Right by the marina. You drop down in. There's a multi-storey car park on the other side. Yeah. You walk on. There's some good food in that cafe as well.
There we go.
Yeah. There's some good LRFing through there. I'd stay off the breakwater. It's full of noddies, but the other side is much nicer.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, if you want some 15-foot beach casters in some mackerel feathers, end of the breakwater is for you.
High-vis coats.
Yeah. Shakespeare seat box, high-vis coat, carry a bag on the floor, some manky old bait, and two unmatching rods, which are probably doing that. People are going to slaughter me for this, but
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Well, I see them going out when I'm going out on the boat, or we were coming out last year on the commercial boat. You just be like, what is that going on over there? Thank you for coming down, mate.
No, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Tell us all about you. Let's hear it. Let's hear about the lure brand to start with, and then we're going to walk backwards from that.
Okay, so I started FFS Lures back in 2018. So I started making lures in 2016. I moved from Harlow in Essex, so I was fishing bait predominantly for chub and big tension to gravel pits and big chub in River Lee. And then we moved up to Cambridgeshire into Fenland, and my fishing changed. So I went from...
Completely different water.
Totally different.
Chalk and cheese, that stuff.
Yeah. So the Fen drains, just driving down here, you got hills down here. Yeah. We got nothing. We got Fenland. We got Big Sky.
As you came through the Somerset Flats, that's a mini version of... You got the drains up through there. And
Yeah. So, those waters up there, there are features, but you got to know about them. But otherwise, it's just long, straight, bleak. But there's some huge fish in there.
Sounds like Belgian canals.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And
when there's nothing, a small something becomes a feature.
Yeah. So where the pumps pump out, or you pump in, you get a bit of depth, and that's your spots, but you don't know that.
A bit of bush hanging over somewhere that's not being trimmed. You're like, what's underneath that?
Yeah, it's so many things like that. So I moved there. So my fishing changed, but I've got that mindset of if someone's done it, it means I can do it. So I started buying these soft plastic lures, and I did what everyone did. I bought shitloads. There you go, the first swear word in the podcast. There you go. So I bought loads of lures. I've still got them. I've still got the wrong size hooks. I've got everything. So
you can never throw it away, though, can you?
Never throw it away.
You've got to keep it in a box.
It's there on the side, and so I started to. I finally whittled down into... I like to keep things simple. So I'm ex-military, so everything's got to be simple and just straightforward.
Travel light as well, I'm guessing.
Travel light. I want one size of hook. So I want that hook to fit multiple lures. So I don't have to worry about what I'm doing. So if I want to change a lure, you just take it off the hook, put another lure on, and you're done. So I whittled my lure selection down to a stick bait, which was Z-Man. A creature bait, which was the K-Tech Crazy Flapper, and a swim bait, which was the K-Tech Swing Impact Fat. And that's all I took because it made it simple. So I had 3 colours. So I had a dark, a bright, and a natural. And that's it. That covered all my lure fishing. So then I was like, well, I'm spending all this money on these lures. I've already spent all this money on these lures. I wonder if I can do it myself. So then you go on YouTube and you find out that you can.
Dangerous place, YouTube.
Hugely dangerous.
YouTube degrees.
Yeah. And you just look at these guys and go, actually, I can do that. So you research it, you do it. And so I started making for myself, my own lures for myself. And then a couple of mates went, they're really good. You should make those. So, no, I'm too busy doing what I do. But eventually, a couple of years later of making lures, my job at the time was really good for it because I was working a week on, week off over in France, or 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off over in France. So in those 2 weeks off or week off, I could come back, make the lures, send them out. So it was a real little side hustle, just making lures via messenger.
That process from thinking, right, fuck it, I'm going to try to make lures, to actually you making lures, how long was that process? Was it literally, I'm just going to do it, and you went... I'm very much like, if I do something, I'm all in, and I'll very quickly make it happen.
Yeah, I am obsessive when I get an idea. listening to your Benfield podcast, I'm now thinking... Yeah, I'm
on the spectrum. Yeah. Sure, mate. Join the club. We're fine.
Yeah, my missus says to me, "Oh, well, you just like we spoke earlier before this," and you said, "Oh, how do you do this?" When what was the question? And so you just get a backstory. I'm doing it again. It was just I'm going to do this, but I also have to do it to the highest standard.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
So I can't not
because your name's on it.
Yeah, but this was even before my name was on it. This was so.
It's not a bad thing to set a standard.
No, you set a standard. So my everything was imported because there wasn't. There's a couple of places in the UK that do the stuff, but not to the same standard that I was watching on the YouTube videos for the guys in America because it's massive there.
Yeah. Different fucking industry.
They're decades ahead of us again. I find that with the big game stuff, they're just further down the line with their fishing.
Yeah, especially for their lure scene. So. Their lure scene is the same as our carp scene for numbers and I think percentage of people in the sport. So their largemouth bass market, freshwater, is the equivalent of our carp scene. That's how popular it is.
Yeah, it's massive.
So have you ever been over there and been into like a bass pro or something like that?
Yeah. My ex-wife was Canadian, and every time we used to go over, it was 7 or 8 hours in a bass pro, and she just it was, and it was just like, okay, I'm going to get. And because my mind works that way, it's like, I'm going to get... Oh, hold on, wait a minute, what's that one? Check it out. Like that one. But then you look at... And then you've got your fly fishing. And then you've got... Because back then it was jerk baits with Dave Kelbrook. Yeah. That was how it all came out. So that was big drum handles, cut up, shaped. And that was your pike lures, that was your jerk baits.
I've got 5 or 6 original Dave Hill rigs that were given to me. And
brilliant.
I'll never ever use them. They will.
No, just stay
that's
there.
My childhood. That is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, very similar. So I went over there asking about jerk baits, and they're giving me these medium heavy jerk bait rods.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a jerk bait. Jerk bait's like 300 grams of lumber that I'm going to chuck out and just work like.
Make a Bass Vision 110, and ours is a 10-ounce piece of wood. It's very different terms.
Exactly. So I just used to spend loads over there. Used to spend loads.
Did that have some influence when you came back on your fishing over here to look at?
Not so much. It was more because of what I was doing. I was fishing for big chub. That was what I was doing. I grew up. So when I first started fishing, I grew up on Kentish streams, Kentish rivers, and it was just chub. Nothing. But £5 was a really good fish. And then you go to the River Lee and £8 is a really good fish. But there's bigger and there's smaller. So that's where I was. So when I was buying stuff over in America, it was more the wet weather and cold weather gear. So that's where I was. So for that, it wasn't until I started to have a look at lure fishing and fly fishing that when we went over, it all changed. But they are just, that's where they are in their market.
It's a massive market.
It's a huge market. But then when I was working in France and I was now living in the Fens, and so the lure fishing was starting to take over. I did a little bit of lure fishing on sort of like the River Store in Essex, in Harlow. And then in France, they had this big shop in Calais called Terre et Eau, which is land and water. and it's a mini Bass Pro. Yeah. So you've got your hunting, you've got your fishing, you've also got your equine in there, and your dogs and everything else. So that was almost like a little mini Bass Pro. So I'd spend ages, like just before I come back, I'd go through there and just buy all my stuff off the shelf in there, and that was that. But that was before FFS lures. So when I started making the lures, it was buying the aluminium molds, shipping them from America. So Bass Tackle was where I used to get my stuff from. Ship them over. The plastisol was from Lure Factors in the UK. So Mark Kelly supplies plastisol. Used to do that. And I just used to have one microwave in my workshop on the back of the garage. And I'd just be shooting lures, and I had loads. But then I started experimenting. Then you go, well, how do I make a core shot? And a core shot, you basically have a rod that goes through the mould. You shoot the first colour, and then you take that rod out, and then you shoot another colour, and that puts it a nice line through. And then on a swim bait, you can actually have that line carry through to the tail. It's something for personal use, not something I'd ever make for commercial, because it's too much of a faff.
Too time consuming.
Yeah. But it's all those little things you go, oh, I could do that. And you see someone has done it, you go, okay, how does he do it? How does he do it? And you look for those little tiny things, and you go, right, that's how he does it. And so I've still got some of those lures in a toolbox, just sitting there going, me? No, not anymore. But you've been done.
Yeah.
So,
do you still fish them?
No. It's just it's almost like, can you do it? Yes, I can. Awesome.
So would you say when you progressed with that, then would you say it was your desire to sell it, or was it your peers around you saying, Tom, this is really good, you should sell it?
I'm not like, going back to that, Benfield, I'm not a salesman. I'm useless at sales because I don't have that killer instinct to make millions. I don't care about it. It doesn't make... I need to pay my mortgage. That's my priority. I need to pay my mortgage and not get evicted.
Yeah.
That's it.
If you can pay your mortgage and go fishing all the time, you're happy.
That's it. I'm a simple man. Yeah, I spent all my formative years in the military. So it was just that. Life's good. Life's good.
It's a nice mindset to have.
Yeah, the sun comes up, it's going to be a good day. If it doesn't, well, we're all in shit.
Yes.
So I'm not that driven towards it, but I need to be. So because it does.
Was there like an event, something pivotal that made you be like, right, we're going to put this into
COVID?
Yeah. Okay.
So I just went self-employed. So I used to train dogs in France to catch people that hadn't paid for ferry tickets.
Like Belgian Malinois?
No, we weren't allowed to use Belgian Malinois.
Because my mate's got two of them.
Yeah,
they're next level, those things.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to use them because they look aggressive. Because obviously we're not allowed to look aggressive in the UK. But obviously then I went from there and I became self-employed. My main client was in Belgium, so one of the top Belgian Malinois breeders. He was my client. So he was doing what we were doing, searching containers and trucks for people that hadn't paid for tickets, but using Mallies. And so I had Mallies. My last military working dog was a Mallee, absolutely fantastic animal. And so COVID... They always said to me, "Oh, how's the lures going?" I said, "It's all right. It's not going to pay the mortgage. You know, this pays my mortgage. I'll come over here. I'll do 2 days a week. I'll come home, and life's good." And then all of a sudden, COVID hit, and they went, "Yeah, you can't travel anymore." Fuck. And so then you have to make something.
Yeah.
And that was it. So I had to make lures pay the mortgage.
Was there any brand at that stage? Was there any...
Yeah, FFS Lures was already in existence. So FFS Lures was 2018. But that was just... I think I had a website in 2018. But it was very much a small thing. So people would buy one of each colour and things like that.
Like
so
a super niche sort of...
Yeah. And also I couldn't do too much because I was away for a week. I was away for 2 weeks, but when I started to do the Belgian 2 days a week, I could start to make lures, and just my customers knew that it might take a bit of time, but you'd get your lures after 3 or 4 days. And but after that, after COVID, you just had to make it work. So social media had to do it, live streams. So live streams, me making lures.
Do you get quite a lot of hits with that? Do you? Do people people like that side of it?
Yeah, I mean, so I still live stream. I live stream on. I try and do every other Thursday. So when I was doing it with COVID, life was easy, wasn't it? Well, it wasn't easy. It was, but we were all doing one thing. So on a Friday afternoon or Friday evening, I'd do a live stream. Yeah,
Loved it. It's the best thing the government ever blagged us into. To be honest, I absolutely loved it.
Well, it's my other half. She now works from home, so she doesn't. Otherwise, she'd have to travel to London.
I don't call
every
it
day.
COVID. I call it the printing press. It was absolutely amazing. Best thing in the world for me.
Oh yeah. So it's so yeah, that just caused it. You know, have something I live by. Have a plan A. Don't have a plan B, because if you have a plan B, you don't work on that plan A.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I'm on plan 8.7 now.
Yeah,
Where you just adjust it and go there. But
fair play,
but you just got to graft at it.
So did you have, when you went into, when Plan A was rolled out in COVID to, okay, we're going to do this, did you have like a core stock
Yes.
at that time? You were doing certain colours and certain things, or was it time
So
to go?
I always made to order, because what I noticed was that there wasn't any pattern to what people were doing. So when I first started, I had the 5 core colours. I had black and blue, June bug, a pearl white, watermelon red, and a green pumpkin. But they weren't popular in the UK. That was staple colours in the US. So I actually got rid of 3 staple American colours, where my American bait making friends go, how the hell do you not sell watermelon red? It's just not a thing over here. People want to have a shad, and they want it in a shad colour. Whereas I've sort of, when I first started lure fishing, creature baits was my thing. And creature baits are awesome for perch. You know, they just whack them. And so in my mind, I'm the anti-everything. So because everyone likes shads, I'm like, nah, fuck shads. Yeah, let's do these. Let's do creatures.
So were these still on purchased moulds?
These
that
are
you
on
were
purchased
importing in?
moulds, yes. So the thing is with the US bass scene, their smallest stuff is our big stuff.
Yeah.
So I was still in that market of just under 3-inch size lures and trying to push those. And they work, they do well, but you're going to miss a lot of
There's
UK
a lot of lads
market.
you want
They want the
small,
tiny stuff. Yeah.
Canfishers and
Exactly. So at that point, I went, well, how do I do this? So I did my first CAD design. So I learnt CAD to do this, which was epic. So
What was that word you used for CAD?
Coordinate system, Cartesian.
Cartesian.
yeah,
Word of the week,
That's
that
it,
is
that's it.
Cartesian.
That's
Yeah, I've forgotten it already. But
so people can understand. You literally,
I knew nothing.
and I'm going to learn about CAD. So you literally, because that's going to, some people are going to be like, what the fuck? So you literally,
CAD's a specialist job in itself. There's guys who are CAD designers and they learn how to CAD and they make a whole whole career around it.
The way I always look at it, and I suppose this is like a military thing, this is why anything's possible. Because when you're in the military, you deal with a lot of situations which are bad. And you make the most of it, and adapt and overcome. Yeah. So you just go, right, I'm going to make whatever I need out of that. I'm going to do that, and you just do it. So for me, if the CAD's out there and people are doing it, well, I can do that.
yeah, why can't you do it?
Why can't I do it? Yeah. And of course, you go on YouTube, and there are people that teach you the basics, and then just over time, you learn the shortcuts, and you get there. So I did my first design, which was a beetle craw, because it was a crayfish, a really flappy crayfish imitation, but I made it segmented, and there was actually 2 main lures in one. So I had the first section, which was the main thing, so it was a 65mm lure, and then the last 1 centimetre was a little beetle with flaps on it, so you can actually take that off and use that as a lure, or you have the full version, or you cut it down, or you take the flappers off, and then you've got like what's in that box is like the next generation of that. So that was my first thing. That was a beetle craw, and that came out, and that was a real flappy little fucker, but it was a pain in the arse to shoot, and it was very geometric. It was in my early designs of my early forays into CAD. So it was a very geometric shape. So it was ovals, it was cylinders, and it was this. But it works and caught some bloody big fish. But it was a pain in the arse to shoot, because I didn't make the mould. So the guy, he was an American mould maker, did it for me. I think it cost me $1,000 in total to get it done and sent over and have enough cavities to make it viable.
What are the cavities for?
That's so each lure is in a cavity. So
so you have multiple. So it's not just a one. You're not just shooting one at a time. You've got to have.
Yes, it's two plates, and then inside I have a cavity for each lure. So I do one shoot or one injection of plastic, and then so like the Craw 21 60mm version, I can get 9 out of that mould just from from a shoot. So that's when you're in production, you want multi-cavity. So you can actually just go, right, so there's a plate. So I put 3 of those moulds together, and in one session of hot plastic, I've got 28 lures. Job done.
So these moulds, when you say you can do mould, they literally like stack on top of each other, and it fills down through the chambers and just fills out.
if can you bring up? I don't think I've got anything on mine, but if you bring up Bass Tackle, can you do that? BassTackle.com.
Do anything.
Brilliant.
This is my Jamie from Joe Rogan, basically.
It's awesome. So so if you look at
that,
these cavities,
look at that, bang there.
Yeah. So that's it. So if you go on any of those, so on the moulds over there. So this is where I've got my injectors from. This is who I used. Yeah. So if you don't go onto a tube. If you go to a swim bait, so that's going to be a K-Tech Fat Impact 4.5 inch for people to make their own.
The pictures up top.
Yeah, picture up there. That's it. So that's a single cavity mould. So that'd be a nice intro version. You're going to make it yourself. You can get 2 colours on there. You can do a top and bottom colour. So you get a top dark colour and a bottom pearl colour. You can do that with that. And then so that's a
multiple cavities.
There's a multi-cavity in one mould, but still single shoots. So you do 1, 2, 3, which is okay if you're shooting 4.5 inch. But if you're doing 2 inch, 50mm lures, you don't want to be doing all that all the time. So then there's other ones where you actually have a runner which goes across all the cavities, and you just shoot.
I follow Jason Epic Molds, and some of the stuff they do is like, fucking look at this, it's well cool.
It's amazing stuff. It's amazing stuff.
For those the listeners, not the viewers, we have Bass Tackle's website up at the minute, and we're just looking at some moulds as examples of what's the sort of thing that Tom does. So.
Yeah.
So you just got him to start making you.
Well, I get.
Well, you bought off the shelf ones.
I bought off the shelf. So I looked at what there was out there, and I went through these websites for ages looking for 3 inch, sub 3 inch lures, and they did really well. But in my mind, if I've done it, someone else can do it.
Yeah.
So there's no point in me competing with someone else that's got the same mould, and all the differences between us is maybe the colours and the grade of plastic.
Yeah.
And in the UK.
And a marketing campaign.
Exactly. So if someone's better at social media than me, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, you're done.
I'm done.
They've trumped already shit. Yeah.
So then, because I was learning the CAD, it's like, well, surely I can learn how to CNC and machine stuff. Of course you can. Why can't you?
Yeah, why can't I?
Why can't you?
Easy.
So I sourced a CNC router or router, whatever it is, a tabletop router which can cut aluminium, and so I just went down that. So I make my own moulds out of CNC, out of aluminium.
So you buy blocks of aluminium.
Yeah, just aluminium plate, face them off, and then all the computer programs. So then you got your lure design, and then you incorporate that into a mould design. So you need to know your tolerances and your air vent. It can only let through air, not liquid, and then that goes into a dump vent. But that dump vent can't then go into another cavity because then you get air bubbles go into cavity. So there's still a lot to learn, but once you know it, it's easy. It's even like just get your calipers out and make sure you do the right size inlet for the injector. So I learnt that and made my first mould.
Amazing.
Was a redesign. So I had one mould that I bought off of someone, and it's the IMBY. So is it okay to put up my website?
Of course. Boom.
There you go. So if you go to the lures, third one, that's it, and go down to frogs and tadpoles. And then the inbee. So I call it the inbee because
Tadpoles are wicked.
I call it,
I've never even seen one.
yeah. That's still the mould that I bought off someone else because no one else has got that. He had that designed for him, but he had to
Do
get
you know
out
anyone
of
who does a
the
tadpole
job.
over here, Danny?
No.
I've never.
And they're only 25 mil long.
Everything eats tadpoles. I've seen carp in the edge hoovering up tadpoles. Like everything.
My local pond, the perch go ballistic for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this lure, this is one that I bought off someone else. So this was my first sort of redesign. The lure that I had was only 10 cavities, so I needed more cavities. So I made a mould with 30 cavities in it. So every shoot I get 30 rather than 10.
How long did it take you to make that mould?
Because it's got to be conservative because of the machine. It's not one of these big industrial rigid machines. You've got to be quite conservative with your times and your speeds. So I think for 30 cavity was probably about 15 to 25 hours. And you got to husband it, you got to mother it just to make sure everything's okay. So what I added to this was the spherical end to the legs, and then also the ribbing on the tail. And I made the tail not quite as pointy and elongated because I wanted to have it as a versatile lure. So there's things called beaver tail lures out there. So if you rig this sideways, it's a beaver tail. If you rig it on a drop shot, it's in between a tadpole and a frog. So that's why I call it the inbee. So I'm looking for that versatility. So this is one of those that it's not lifelike, but it gets bit because it imitates something and nothing on everything.
Something in nature, it could be something, it could be a dragonfly larva,
Exactly.
it could be a tadpole,
Yeah,
it could be...
Yeah, and then it comes down to how you work it, how you rig it, how you want to play with it. If you want to cut down that tail and have two tails split down the middle, you can do that. And that's the thing with soft plastics, you can do that. You can just modify them to your heart's content, but people don't. So that's where the beetle claw didn't really catch on. So for me, I am ripping bits off just to suit the situation. But in the UK, we're still in that situation where it's like, that lure should last me 10 years. Well, actually, this is...
Yeah, I want to fish this out of the packet and it should just work straight away.
Yeah, and it does. So, but what I'm trying to say is that people don't want to lose them. They don't want it to rip. They don't want that. Whereas if you look at the American bass scene, after a tournament, their boat is just a graveyard of soft plastics because one soft plastic, one fish, because that one fish might win your competition. Yeah. So for me, it's like, well, if I catch one 3-pound perch on one lure, but that lure gets destroyed, that's a 20p lure. That's a 3-pound perch.
Yeah.
So that's, and it seems like from your carp days, how many kilos of boilies do you chuck in? And how much do you spend on that? And it's like £3.50 pack of lures.
Fresh hook. I was using the Kamakuras.
Yeah,
they're like £7.95. Yeah. £8 a packet. Yeah. They're one fish hooks.
Yeah, I saw one guy on social media the other day. He said, he just had a graveyard of hooks on his table. It's like it was a good session. So there's like 30 hooks.
So I used to keep them. Every time I caught a fish, I'll put it in the top of my rig wallet. I'll put that hook in the. At the end of the season, you couldn't see my rig wallet for hooks, and you'd be like. It's like £100 worth of hooks just sat here.
Exactly.
Not counting the ones where I've gone to flick it out and I've got the cast wrong or something. It's bent the end of the hook over, so that's come back out again and done this. Dumping the lead every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes on. And I wasn't the one who, when I cut my rigs down afterwards, I'd be like, I'll reuse this ring swivel. Bin, fresh ring swivel. Yeah, nothing.
You get it with a lot of lures. I mean, like, for example, the fish black minnow, the compound softness of that. People moan like fuck. It's too soft, it gets ruined, the rasp bite it in half. The reason that lure is so successful is because of the compound of the lure. The whole point of that.
Yes, swim on.
Yes, there's lots of imitations of that lure that do kind of, but the fish's compound is the key to how their lures work. And without that, you're taking away what that lure is about. And some people don't get that. They just think, oh shit, I'm paying £12 for a lure that breaks straight away. You're missing the point.
Yeah, I've been asked by some people to say, I wish they were a bit more durable. But you catch fish. Yeah, they catch fish. If I was to make them more durable, they'd be rigid and crap.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, see, we've got this with the Tuna Gear bars at the moment. Those bars distort. I can show you some videos later. Like, fresh bar out. I cut my bars down after every 2 or 3 fish because you get pigtailing in the lines.
Yeah.
They will still fish fine, but they look sort of distorted and out of shape, but it's trying to build something durable that's getting dragged through the water at 40 miles an hour by a 200-pound fish. You know, it's... Yeah. Someone sent me a picture of a bar and like he goes, I can't get the bar to straighten back out. And I was like, yeah,
why would you?
Yeah, it won't.
Yeah.
Like you can, because I use a centre bird, you can get more leverage than a normal bar and you can pull the bar back out and you can untangle everything. I was like, that... If we had attached you to a bit of line and dragged you through the water, like that's just gone through, you'll be in a much worse state than that thing. And it's always a fine line with things, isn't it?
Exactly.
You want things to work properly in the water,
and it's almost like
but everyone wants it to last forever.
Yeah, and it's almost like the 200-pound tuna is secondary to that bar lasting a bit longer.
And it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. It's
100%.
Yeah.
You've just caught a fish of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Our bars are a bit more money, they're 175 quid, but here you go, here's something with a stinger £200. Here's £200, you can go and catch a fish in UK waters, which 99% of the UK population haven't caught. Sounds like a pretty fair trade-off to me.
But also, you're not casting that from the bank, are you? So you've got to pay for the boat.
We don't talk about this bit. The wife might be listening. We don't talk about this side of things. We might talk about rods and reels and holic core and more and fees and fuel and shock mitigating seats and radars and You don't have one rod, you've got four.
But actually, and that's what when people say, oh, that braid's expensive. So I've just started stocking Sunline, Sunline small game, which is for the really small stuff is fucking expensive. But if it catches you more fish and it's reliable and you're not worried about, because I had...
What's the price point on it for like retail?
For the really small one, you're looking at £60 for 150 metres. But then goes to 35
miles on a little...
Yeah, but so I had this conversation the other day and it comes up all the time, the dreaded Temu and AliExpress.
Okay, that's what I was going to talk about.
So this is what really gets me going. You get it online all the time. You're arguing the toss about the connecting factor that is between you and your fish of the lifetime, and people will happily scrimp and save and make all these cheap shit that they buy online on what I feel is something that I actually, on the opposite end of the scale, I would rather that I have an ultra premium braid, because that is the factor between me landing that fish and not. The rod will cast any lure within reason. I'll real wind it in, but the line, a decent line, used correctly.
It's not even that. It's the company that are making. What was that line you're stocking?
Sunline.
So Sunline have spent a fortune on R&D.
Yeah.
Why is that the best line? Why is it? I know nothing about this line because I'm using £200 polycard, but why is it so supple? Why does it go through the ice so well? Why does it not wind knot? Why does it do this? Whereas the people on the sites that you've just mentioned, they've just looked at that and gone, oh, that's an 8-core. There you go. Well, this is cheaper. And you're like, you've done no R&D.
Yeah.
That line has never been taken out of that factory and fished, because the guys that make that line that you're selling, they've given that to all their field testers first and gone, can you go and try this? And they've come back, no, that's crap. Okay, well, right, we'll try this, we'll try that.
Yeah.
That's where the R&D side of things, you can buy tuna spreader bars on AliExpress. I used to buy them, and you soon...
I bet they bend.
Oh, they're just that. They just shatter. They fall. They're not designed. They'd probably be all right for some other forms of small tuna, but they're not designed for Atlantic bluefins. The crimps aren't there. The line's not there. And again, they've looked at what probably guys at Hoagie Lures and the big companies over in America have gone in. They've gone, oh, well, they've stuck 14 squids on in a certain pattern with a bar across. They go and get Eric out of the factory. Can you go and make one of these? Eric goes, yeah, I can make that. Now they're selling spreader bars. Well, that spreader bar's never been tested on anything. No. Well, I tested it for them when I bought them in the early days and went, why is that falling apart? I built my own. It's That's what some people really I get fishing is expensive at times, but like you were saying, you don't need everything. You can travel very light. Yeah. You're better off spending some money on a very good rod, on a very good reel, on some very good line, and a few lures. And some FFS lures here, said properly by Andy. And like you say, if somebody wanted to put that kit together on their website, what do you think the retail on that is? Something like that, off the top of your head.
I would say that for me to retail that, you're looking at about 40 quid.
in how long would that last you? If somebody's going fishing once, 3-4 times a month, there is a whole bunch.
That'll last forever.
Yeah. That's your range,
And then you just buy a £3.50 pack of lures to replace.
To keep topping up bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So you don't need everything under the sun. And I think people get a bit dragged in with the social media and these things that they need this, and this.
And that's why I started FFS Lures, because it was... I'd gone through that phase of everything under the sun. But actually, or just passing on the information that you found out over the years, that actually you just need 3 colours. You just need 2 colours, to be honest, a natural and a dark, for what we do in the fresh water.
Yeah, you don't need 10 million SKUs. It's all lovely to have.
It's great to have.
When you strip it down to its bare bones,
this is why I'm not a very good salesman, because I'm saying you just need 2 colours.
Yeah.
So people say to me, what's your favourite colours?
I get asked this all the time.
Yeah. Well, my favourite colour is June bug and green pumpkin, so I've got 2.
Mine's pink and black.
Yeah. So that's, if I could only have one colour, it'd be June bug, which is just a nice dark colour, so it works in coloured water, clear water, bright sky.
My absolute favourite RAS colour of all time
is what?
June bug.
Well, that's why I put black and blue. Damn it. But June bug's my favourite colour.
It's funny how these colours go across the spectrums, though, of fishing, because my go-to pop-up in carp fishing was a sticky bait pink, signature pink. I've caught more fish on those signature pinks than anything else. Now I'm out there tuna fishing, and I'm catching more tuna on pinks than most other colours. In fact, this season, pinks, I've just had to do a reorder because we've sold out of most of the pinks.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, carp like them, tuna likes them. What's going on with pink?
Yeah, bubblegum is a great colour. I tend to use bubblegum more on canals.
Pipe fly fishing, which is something that was close to my heart. Pipe fly
colour
fishing.
water. Yeah.
Do you think it's that fleck of colour that's coming past?
See, and again, my method of fishing is very precise. So I'm not relying on the lure to attract the fish. I'm relying on my skills to put that lure in front of the fish. So if I'm fishing...
Very good point there.
Yeah, so if I'm fishing a canal, I'm fishing the margin, the margin, the margin, the margin, so that I've now done that. Anything that's in this first little bit, so I'll approach the bank and actually fish just in front of my feet, because there's no point casting over there and the fish is here and you've just spooked it by bringing it back in. So I'd step back, cast, or do a little bit of work around my feet, because there might be a 15-pound zander there that you didn't know about. And as soon as
so many fish under your feet in fresh water.
Yeah.
All aspects of fish.
Yeah.
The amount of margin fishing...
Yeah.
95% of my fishing was margin fishing.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're all in there.
Yeah. It's when I'm fishing for zander, I fish for zander at night time. So that's my main time for fishing for zander on lures, and I'm using a dark lure. So I use June bug, drop shot, a fluke, 100mm fluke on about an 8-inch drop.
You're using a lamping light to try and spot things?
No.
You're literally just going in.
Just cast.
Black Ops specials.
Yeah. And it works because
Night stalker on the canals.
Yeah. But they say, you need to have UV. You don't need UV.
No, you don't. It's bollocks,
because it's
it's not even UV. It's fluorescent, really, isn't it? It's,
yeah. So UV. So, but I'm fishing it in such a way that I'm covering fish. I'm not trying to attract that fish from over there to here.
Yeah, you're fishing.
I'm then going to go, okay, I think there's going to be a fish by that bush. There's a cast that bush. Whack! I've got the fish. So that's how I approach my fishing, rather than have a blade or a rattle or vibration or anything like that. So, I mean, the Craw 21s, they are flappy, they're thumpy, they put out a lot of movement, but I'm still using them in the mindset that I'm going to put that within an inch of that fish's face. And therefore it's going to react to it or it's not. Yeah. But if I get it there, so if I try not to miss any bit of water at all, which is difficult when I'm fishing sort of the River Nene in Peterborough, because that's huge. It's a huge bit of river. So if I cast out and bring it back, then I've got that cast, and then I've got that cast, and then I've got those casts.
It's a lot of water to work.
A lot of water to cover. So when there's a couple of us there, we do a bit of a Charlie's Angels. So someone will be in the middle, the other person will be here, and the other person will be there, and we'll just cover that fan.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Between 3 of us. And then we move on and we overlap. So again, when I was searching for IEDs out in Afghan, you always overlap so you don't miss anything. So just bring that into the fishing. And so that as you move down, how far did you cast? I cast down to that tree there. Okay, so we'll stop here. So the next person that casts that way is overlapping that bit. So we're covering. And that's how we sort of break down the waters looking for these fish.
Do you cover any of that in your beginner's guide on your website?
Yeah, I try to. So I'll go down one of the biggest thing is retrieves.
Call that up, please.
Retrieves and techniques. So when I wrote this, I didn't really use jigs. I used Texas, Chebs, and drop shot. So one of the things, the first thing here is the lure choice, lure colours. So I've got 17 colours, and like I said, I only use 2. But as a sales, people want choice.
Of course.
If you limit
The
them
colour
to 2
catches
colours,
the angler more than it catches the fish.
yeah, I mean that's a beautiful colour. That's
That'll
firefly.
catch tuna, that would.
Yes, it's lovely. So, and they're just, when do you use a dark coloured lure? I use it in low light, overcast conditions, or in coloured water. Natural colour, clear stained water. So in Belgium, when I was fishing with Xander in the canals, they're dirty canals, but one of the best colours is a very natural green pumpkin because they've just adapted to it. But if you put that lure past a fish, it's going to
still go
bite
to
it.
Belgium?
I haven't been to Belgium since COVID.
I'll give you the name of the canal you might not have fished, which is Gin Clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
So again, for the listeners, we've actually on Tom's website, he's got like a beginner's guide section on there at the top of the website, and there's like a breakdown of explaining some rig styles and methods and bullet points, and you've written this yourself, yeah?
I've written this myself, yeah. This is all from my own experiences. Even the drop shot weight. So you see the drop shot weight there, it hasn't got that standard drop shot
pinched
because tungsten's expensive. I tie all my drop shot weights on now because the amount of times that I actually change the depth on my drop shot compared to how many drop shots I lose is massive. So I advocate tie it on. If you want to fish on the close to the deck, we just slack line it, and that lure falls down to that slack, and then you bring it back up, and and that's how I do that. So yeah, it's all these little things that. Like I said,
tungsten's expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're 85p a lead. That's cheap.
Do
you make these yourself? Or do you buy
these are imported. These are imported in. So, but if you were to buy those from a manufacturer or a brand, I go direct to the manufacturer. So I have no middleman. So it's just me. So I can actually do these at half the price that a brand does them because the brand obviously has to then sell them out to the stockist.
We've got a brand, I'm not going to mention a name, which sells a pack of 3 tungsten drop shot weights, and they're $10.95.
Who is it?
I'm not saying the name. I'm not getting it. But there's a well-known brand. But yeah, it's $10.95 for a pack of 3, and that's not like that's the going rate for those leads.
That's the market because the manufacturer wants X. So then the brand has to buy them at that. Then they have to sell them to their stockists, and their stockists have to get their markup, and everything goes up.
On markup. It keeps going up by 1.8% every single time.
Exactly. Whereas there's a few of us out there that import our own straight from them from manufacturer, and we keep the price down. And there's a lot of them in the tungsten market, but I just stay within. So my Cheb weights go from 0.6 gram to 7 gram. So I don't go above 7 gram because my market is finesse.
That finesse,
yeah.
So obviously you're a UK brand.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple kind of the finesse kind of that branch out. How have you found that market space within the UK? Because we're not America, we don't have millions of brands and massive loads of shelf space here. So how have you found? You've gone from you're making your own, you've gone down the CNC, you've done your own thing, you've got a website. How have you found that selling space within the UK as a UK market? Because obviously there are a couple.
Yeah.
And how have you? I mean, it's devil's advocate is that
there's enough to go around.
Yeah.
That's why I don't trash anyone. I don't say that mine's better than yours or yours is worse than mine.
You have to.
No, because I have
the product speed.
My customers are my customers. That's why I do the affiliate scheme. If they want to promote my stuff, I want to give them something back. And there's a lot of people. It's the affiliate.
I like
that's
this. I'm probably even going to pinch it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's down the bottom. So that's it. Yeah. So whereas you've got people that have certain. I'm not talking about what you did for Shimano and everything else, but I'm saying about the pro staff that are working for a tackle shop, and they get their discount.
Yeah.
So for me, I couldn't afford to do what I wanted to do properly. So for me, a pro staff, every time you put a post up, I should pay you for that post because you're marketing for me. I'm going to get the benefit. You're not getting the benefit as the pro staff because you might get, especially this is more towards the shops rather than the actual brands. You're just going to get a 20% discount, which as a shop is just not VAT. So you're going to do whatever you've got to do with the accounts.
I think this you touched on here. There's a slight bit of confusion within the UK as to when people say they're working in the leather fishing industry, that's quite a broad thing, and there are some levels to this. There are people that are brand, which was kind of my direction. There are people that, like say, there are shops that support promotional staff, pro teams, and then there are guys like we've got little Tom that's grew up and helped a little bit here and there. And I think people want
picked up by someone, isn't
and
he?
people there's sometimes a bit of not negativity, but it can be a bit smoky-eyed looking at this sort of industry, and I think what you're doing, the way that you do it with, like you said, you openly said you don't have a load of actual sponsored guys that you'll care, but you offer this, what we're talking about now, and I think that's a good way to one, there's a plus side to the guy, the end guy. It helps you. And I've always said that when you can help each other, and it's not just you're not on a retainer, or it helps everyone along the line. They're benefiting from it. They're getting a little bit of something.
Yeah, exactly. So in actual fact, so for each affiliate purchase, so the person that makes the affiliate has an affiliate link.
So they sign up. They come in and they buy something from you in the first instance.
No, well, they can just.
Can you email them and say,
no. This is it. It's open.
So it's literally just sign up.
It's open. You just want to do this. You sign up, and it's in your interest to promote it or not, because you're going to get the commission. So, and then the person that uses your link also gets 5%. So actually, on a sale, I'm losing 15%, but it's 15% of a sale which I might not have had.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. Plus,
something's better than nothing.
Yeah. Plus, I just see it that if I've got 100 affiliates putting the word out there, or I've got 3 pro staff.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's a much better way of doing it.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be nice.
Yeah. Plus, the pro staff thing is, it works for people, and some people want to do it because they like the kudos of it and everything else. But I couldn't do it how I wanted to do it because I would want them to be on the payroll because they're working for me. They're advertising for me. So they should be on the payroll. And this is how I've sort of got to that point of doing it, rather than try and have employees, which I can't afford to do. I'm only a one-man business. I can't do it.
How well does this work?
I think I've got about 30 affiliates, and some are active, some aren't active. Some are making, so they get the choice of a gift card, which brings everything back into the love of the FFS community, or they can have PayPal. So
is there a criteria to you allow, or anyone can become an affiliate?
Anyone can do it.
Okay.
Anyone can do it, and they get a 10% discount as well as an affiliate.
Okay.
So it's actually I've got some people that just do it for a discount, but if you go on my FFS Lures community group, there's a discount there just for being on the Facebook group.
Yeah, of course.
So it's there. So it's nothing that isn't happening all the time for me, but it's just putting a bit of love out there. And also helping me. I've still got to pay that mortgage. So
obviously, you have a loyalty scheme within the shop as well.
There's a loyalty scheme within the shop where every £1 you spend, you get a point, and then points.
When you say shop, you mean website or actual
website,
physical site? Right, okay.
Yeah.
Thought I'd missed something completely then. Okay.
No, I couldn't do it. Couldn't do a shop.
Retail's the walking. Although I'm a massive fan, and we spoke about this loads. I love a tackle shop.
Yeah.
Like I love going into a tackle shop and just chatting. That's how me and you met.
Yeah.
And it's I could go into a tackle shop for hours.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to buy everything online. They want free postage, they want this, they want that, and they want it turning up next day.
Yeah. See, that's one of the things that I try and get across on mine. So I make all the lures to order. So it's always in stock, but you've got a guy making it for you.
Yeah.
So I make lures on Monday and Tuesday. That covers orders from Thursday to Sunday. And then I'll post on a Wednesday. Then I make lures on a Thursday, which covers the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday orders. And then I post on a Friday. and some people don't get that. I've had a few shitty emails from people who haven't read the website, they haven't read the terms and conditions. I've tried to make it so clear. So, oh, you haven't sent these to me. I made them yesterday for you. I physically made them. And then when you actually explain that, they're like, oh, I'm really, really sorry, I didn't realise that. I just thought because I asked for 24-hour tracking, it would be here within 24 hours. It's like, no, once you buy it and I've made it, it will be sent via 24-hour tracking, not it's a 24-hour turnaround. And that's a little bit, I suppose Amazon's to blame for that.
I'm fighting this battle at the moment, so we went through an incredibly busy period at the start of the season. I'd pre-made load of bars, and then I pre-made another load for the shop that I stopped, gone.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Right, so now I'm making more, and then I had orders coming in, I was trying to keep up with it, and then the other night, we've just gone through, and we've stocked everybody now, so now everyone's using their stuff, we've gone through a bit of a quiet one.
Yeah.
But I woke up I've got problems with waking up in the middle of the night with ideas rattling around in my head, and the laptop comes out, and I looked at my phone. It's 1:30 in the morning. I've looked at my phone. I've got 3 orders. I went, I need to make those.
I'll do them now.
I put the phone down. I led there for a bit and just went, fuck it. Yeah. Got up, and my wife texted me at 4:30. She went, have you gone fishing? I went, no, in the garage. And I rocked back in at about 5:15.
Yeah.
And I'd made 6 bars. What had I done? No. 1, 2, 4 bars, 6 stingers, a splash chain. And then, because I don't have a box to put this stuff in, because I've got a removal company, we have a carton 6 box. And if I cut that box in half, open it up, fold the sides up, do a couple of cuts, it makes one perfectly, but I've got to do it twice.
Yeah.
So then I make up all the boxes, pack everything into it, and then I like putting free stuff in there as well. So I was trying to find some dry bags somewhere.
Yeah.
Then I want to make sure it's got the right stickers, because I put Tuna Gear stickers on everything as it goes out. And you're like, I could have probably have waited till tomorrow, but then I'm going to be busy. I want to go fishing.
You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, do you?
You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and but I'm on that same thing where I didn't want people going, "Where's my bars?"
Yeah.
Because I'm so new to the market, I just thought, "Fuck it, I'll make it now."
So if you go on to Super Finesse Worm, so if you go on to the lures, and it come up sticks and worms, this is how I sort of get around it. So if you go on there, go onto your Super Finesse Worm, and then just in the description. So this is what I also do with the description, is that I tell people what size jig head it fits, what size weedless hook fits it, what size exposed hook fits it, your drop shot hook, so people don't have to then buy a shitload of hooks. It's there.
Do you find people actually read this?
Majority. The ones that don't are the ones that send me a message to say, where's my lures?
What's the best thing to get?
Yeah, where's my lures? But it's... So they're just at the bottom there. It just says lures are made to order Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, posted Wednesdays and Fridays. So maybe that's something you can incorporate into yours, or just have a pop up on your website that says
I just
made
like
to
to
order.
beast myself and just get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and make them.
Adding reviews on the website, that's a new thing that I've done, and that's quite good. Trustpilot, but to actually get Trustpilot on your website is extortionate amount. But I still have a Trustpilot account where people can leave reviews. I think that's something that I've just started reviews this year, and that I think helps because people want to see what they're buying, especially from someone they don't know. I'm not Z-Man, I'm not Savage Gear, I'm not Fox. They don't know me, but having that little bit of trust there.
Call up the YouTube a sec, please, mate. Down in that bottom right. Do you know, why don't you have video incorporated into the website?
I do. It's time. I've got a few that I have. So there you go. I tried to do FFS, Friday Fishing Stories.
That's clever.
You
I like that.
Like that.
Well played, sir.
So
I like that.
So just go out on a Friday after work, go catch some fish. It's not huge views. It's nothing there. And then so this was a lot of. You can tell by the haircut and the lack of beard how long ago that was. Although I do look probably more tired then. That's where I used to be in my workshop. So I've been in every corner of my workshop. So I went from one microwave.
What is your workshp? Sorry,
It's
it the garage?
It's on the back of the garage. So when we bought the house, it actually had a workshop. So it's a single garage again behind the garage. So again, if we didn't move to Finland, I wouldn't be doing this. So everything happened for a reason. So just it's.
Do you enjoy the YouTube side of it?
I enjoy doing lives. So
You do a lot more live stuff, do you?
Yeah. So
Is that Facebook?
No, well, I've done a lot of lives on Facebook. I've just started to do that on YouTube. So I want to build the YouTube channel a bit more. So a lot of live streams, making lures and chatting to people, chatting to the customers. So I get maximum 30. The one on Friday or Thursday, I had 10. But it's 10 people that are interacting.
Yeah.
And
Are they? I'm a dinosaur with this stuff. Are they physically talking to you, or is it message?
They're on a chat message.
Yeah. Like
So it's
comment
instant
section of our
instant
videos,
message.
you can interact like that.
Yeah, it's instant message. So I see their message come up and answer their
My
questions.
original Lure Fishing with Danny podcast that I did on Facebook was exactly that. Posted live, got invited the other guest into the video so everyone could watch us chatting, and then it was just a banter session underneath.
Yeah.
And that was before we started this. That was my kind of dip into this, was the Lure Fishing with Danny, and it was exactly that, but on Facebook.
Yeah. So I used to do a lot of Facebook. So I used to do lunchtime lures. So I'd just join me just making orders. So I'd say, okay, I'm going to do a live on Facebook. If you're there, you're there. If you're not, you're not. Pop in, pop out.
Session. I come over.
Mate, the problem is, I was just thinking about that. I've generally got no top on, and there's drum and bass piling out in the background, and I'm just like bouncing around, making bars up, and it gets hot out there because it was going to be an Airbnb, that space, and the wife decided she didn't want anybody in it,
Right.
So it became my office. And then when I stepped away from loads of stuff at work, it became Tuna Gear HQ.
Yeah.
But I've got 2 fish tanks in there, and that keeps it warmer than my house that was built in 1918, and it's had all the tricks done to it to keep it warm. So it gets pretty hot out there. So I've generally got no top on, and some heavy duty drum and bass blaring out, which my neighbour commented on the other morning. He was like, he goes, I got up to use the toilet, Andrew. I could hear a noise coming from the garage. He goes, I wouldn't call it a noise, I call it a monstrosity. And I had some I think it was some old school jungle on or something like that, just absolutely going for it. But yeah, we can do it if they don't mind me topless.
Well, that's it. A lot of the things that a lot of the bait makers in the States, they do lives while they're making baits, but they also do collaborations. So there'll be one person in Texas making their baits, and they have a split screen with the bloke over in California making his baits, and they'll be chatting along, saying, what are you doing there, blah, blah, blah. And you just sit there and watch it. It's like Joe Rogan podcast.
Love it.
It's just
Love
just watchable, isn't it? It's like this sort of thing. It's
well, this is where we've nicked it from.
Yeah, that's good.
Literally, we got Megadesk, we've got a Jamie, we've got the same camera angles as Rogan, and we stuck a screen up. I was like, when we had the conversation about how do we do a podcast, I went, let's just rip off what Joe Rogan's done. Yeah. Because he is the best.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Tom Barron. So I was making lures in my workshop, and I just had your Tom Barron podcast on, and I'm just there making lures, watching, and I saw you go, pull up his. I went, I've seen this before somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's really good because it's there. It's something to reference to. So
because you podcast.
Yep.
So that's cool. So what's the name of the podcast?
Podcast is the Lure Fishing Podcast.
Can you pull it up, please, Jamie?
And it's under Tackle and Baits. So
is it on the website?
No, it's not. It's not my podcast. I sort of co-host on a semi-regular basis.
Who's the host?
It's Andy Page.
Okay. Do you know him?
Yeah. I've watched a number of episodes.
And is it
Fenland Tackle.
And
or Tales from the Tackle Shop. But if you put in Lure Fishing Podcast on YouTube, it should come up.
It's dedicated lure.
It's lure. So
anything lure or
anything lure. So I mean, because of where we are and because of what Andy does, it's mostly around the competition scene and the fens, sort of perch, zander, pike, chub. Haven't really. I mean, I've sort of because I went to the lure fundraiser, the big lure fundraiser, and that's where I sort of went. Actually, this sort of stuff's really bloody cool.
That's what Tom was talking about.
Yeah, is it there?
It's a good blend of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, LRF's pretty.
Well, it was the multi-species stuff, and
it's loads of fun. Multi-species
cool.
hunts.
There we go. So that's the last one that we did. That's the
This one here, yeah.
yeah.
I want to get Charlie on air, I think.
Yeah, so you got Andy and Charlie. They fished on Lake Challenge. At the weekend, they came 5th. They won it last year. They came 5th this year, which is really good.
Need to get rid of. How do I skip? So I've got it.
But what we kind of done is gone down a
I
magazine.
like his entry music.
So you got
So that's 4 o'clock in the morning rave music, that is.
Season 3, episode 6 of the Lure Fishing Podcast. And today, we're going to be talking Lake Challenge. Just finished it, mate. And we
That's a brave tattoo on his face, isn't it?
He's an
He's not messing about there, is he?
He's actually tattooist, yeah.
Oh, he can get away with it then.
drive home, but as you know, I flew home. It was lovely. That Sunday night driving and picking your route yourself.
So do you always do it out of like wherever you guys are sat? You don't do it in a specific
we do
studio?
it generally at Andy's. So where Andy is on the left, he's made a room in his house into a studio. So we go there, but we tried to make it into a bit of a magazine type affair. So you've got Charlie here, then later on you've got Jamie Potts from the Lure Angler Society. He's doing a piece, so that gets segued in. Then you've got a guy called Bradley Hunt, who's the social media guy over at Predator Tackle. So he does like a lure reveal and something there. Then you got me. Sometimes I do it with Andy, or I just send in a snippet from me making lures and have a chat about questions that I've been asked that week. So it cuts things up a little bit. So we went from a podcast, which was these two guys were the starters on the couch chatting, had the odd guest, and now it's gone a bit more into a magazine type, just to keep people's attention.
Doing like reviews or just talking about what's going on in the world.
So like we did the Measure Gate, we did a one on
Measure Gate, I like that.
We did Measure Gate, we did a one on that situation, but we didn't accuse anyone, because at the time it was that don't look right. But this goes on. So
we spoke about this before the mics came on, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because we reached out to that same person that we are talking about, because I was interested. No, I didn't want to throw anybody under the bus. Like we've all done stuff in our lives which I'm sure we're not proud of, but you have to be able to learn and grow from those situations and use them as a sounding board to go, fucked up there, I ain't going to do that again. But I wanted to know what makes somebody want to do that. Yeah. Because like as I said to you, and as we were talking about with this other incident that's cropped up recently within the bass world, it's
been happening since there's been competitions.
Yeah, 100%. But you have to live with that as a person, and that is just going to erode your soul away. Yeah. And the more you do it, the more you're going to think, oh, this is all right. And I think that ekes into other parts of your life. Yeah. Who was I talking to? No, it was on a podcast. I can't remember what it was. Might have been the Brett David one, Brett David. And they were talking about, they were out for a meal, they played golf with a guy, and his wife was with them, and she had noticed that he had cheated. No one else had noted, and they all gone out for dinner, and they were going to do this business deal, and she pulled him to one side and said, he cheated on the golf course.
Yeah, don't do the business deal with him,
And he was like, well, so what? And he was like, well, if he's willing to do it there, he's going to cheat on other stuff. Cheating isn't a one item thing. If that person cheats, they're going to cheat at all aspects of things. So
because as long as you get away with it, it's okay. And
makes it, but it reinforces it in you, I suppose, and you just think, oh, well, I'll go away with this over here. I'll get away with that over there. I'm not the guy that we're talking about here. I'm not accusing that he does, but that's my take on.
There's a human nature trait. I mean, there was a guy in the military that I served with, and lovely lad, but he just lied. He lied, and he'd tell you a story, and it'd be a great story, it'd be a great punchline, and it would just be hilarious. He'd be there and have a fag and a coffee, and it'd be brilliant. And then someone else would walk in the room and say, "Oh, tell him the story, tell him that," and he'd tell him, but he'd change the punchline. He'd change the ending to suit the person he was telling.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's not it. What? Yeah. So now you know that all of it was bullshit. So, and as soon as you know it, you can't go there. But he just kept doing it. He couldn't help himself. He had to, it was either centre of attention, which I think cheating in fishing is, if there's a monetary thing, you're going to do it. If you want to be centre of attention, you're going to do it. And it's a trait in some people.
How did you guys, obviously, it's obviously it is a negative side of the sport, and it does happen.
Yeah.
Well, when you guys covered that, how did you find the reaction from the community talking about that?
We had some that were very, I'm glad you did it. We had some that said, oh, you're stringing him up, you're doing this, you're doing that. It's
you didn't name names, did you?
No, we actually just had the photographic evidence of folding mats. So once it's there,
I mean,
you can't not do it.
social media at that time within the leather industry was comical gold. Some good and bad side of it. So I don't agree with all of it. I mean, some of it was highly entertaining. Some of it was downright awful. Some of it was
some people that
there was some things I read.
There were pitchforks. That's the problem. And again, you've got the person that cheated, and then you've got the people that want to string them up. I'm not for stringing up. I'm for you did it. You're gonna reap some shit.
Yeah,
but you also took money off people.
What you sow.
Yeah, you took money.
I saw stuff and I was thinking,
but there's also people that are they are extreme keyboard warriors.
Yeah, but if you met them outside, they wouldn't say boo to a goose.
No, some will. Some psychopaths out there, but it just
between.
It's hard. And I know the guy that ran the competition on that one, and he was devastated to the point that he wasn't going to do any more because
how to seeing it. Yeah,
how do you do that? And he's running these things in trust. But it wasn't just that one that this guy cheated on. He cheated on the one that his shop organised, or they organised via the shop, and he won it. But he won it by cheating. So all these people that travelled and did all this work to come spend their money in the shop, and then the shop manager cheats on the competition.
Yeah.
It's a sticky wicket.
It was a tough one, wasn't it? I mean,
I'm glad you did that though. I'm glad you had that conversation. We were sat. I didn't want to. I wasn't going to do a whole episode just on cheating. I wanted to get him in as a guest.
Yeah.
We obviously have a slightly different take on what they're doing with the podcast. We're not.
Yeah.
We don't ever sit here, just me and you. We've done one or two with me and you just chatting about things. We have a guest in. We are 100% about a guest. And we are not,
awesome.
Although it's called the Tuna Gear podcast, it is opening to, we've had carp anglers on, we've had lure makers on in freshwater, we've had, shops, big game anglers on. We've had, if it involves fishing and we can talk about it, get on here and come and talk to it about us. It's a slightly different take.
I like that. I think there's room for podcasts, and there's room for podcasts.
It's my main content consumption nowadays is podcast.
The mainstream media can go.
Oh yeah, it's full of shit.
I'd rather talk to
I call it Goebbels' propaganda machine. Fuck the BBC. It's bollocks.
That segment's on really nicely. So obviously, social media, love or rate it.
My company's built around it.
Yep.
I need it.
Yeah, of course. So your relationship with that is...
Yeah, I'm not on it, as in, look at me, I've eaten this today. You don't
have a personal face. Well, you've got to have one because you've got a business.
Yeah, I do have a personal Facebook, but I don't really put anything on it. I might put a picture of a dog on it when my dog dies. It's just one of those things. But I'm not a social media. But I've got 2 Facebook groups. I've got the Facebook page. So the Facebook page at the start didn't really draw anything. Pages weren't good. Facebook groups...
Call up, please, mate.
Absolutely fantastic because it becomes community. And I called it the FFS Lures Community Group. And I don't know if it will come up on there as in to see what's in it. It's a private group.
We'll just pull up the Facebook.
Yeah. So the actual community group. And within Facebook fishing groups, you've got those people that I watched your podcast and just the negativity and how they feel like they can message you and call you out for this and do that. So you've got the map police, you've got the lip grip police. I don't have any of that on mine because as soon as it comes up, it's like, no, we're not going down there. We're not going to do politics. We're not going to do this. This is a fishing group. It's primarily...
You kick them out?
I will watch them. Some people I just block and delete. Block and delete because I went through a phase of allowing people to talk shit about me because I've been in conflicts. There's collateral damage in every conflict.
Yeah.
And the collateral damage with different brands and companies having to go to each other is the customer. The customer's a collateral damage, something like that. You say what you want, but in the end, I'm just like, you know what, block, delete, out of my life.
Yeah.
So I've got the community group.
No, it's private.
It's private. I mean, if I can put my phone back on and
No, that's right. If we put up just the normal,
And then
your normal
I've got-
Facebook page.
Yeah, and then I've got the community get-togethers. So this is something that's come along. You have to be a member of the community group to be on that. But what I've started to do is I've actually started to, on a Wednesday afternoon, travel within 2 hours of where I am and go fish with people.
That's cool.
So we bring it up. So it's nice to meet the community. So these guys have they've paid my mortgage. So why shouldn't I drive for a couple of hours to go see them?
I think
have
it's
a
a great
fish?
idea.
Yeah, I
fish
really
on?
like that. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, that's really cool.
And just that that community, and that's how I sort of look at the FFS Lures family is a community, because without them, I'm nothing. And I've got, and it can be tribal, it can be there, but it's definitely something that is awesome because it's real people.
It
And
is
that's
tribal
why-
though, because we've still got that in our instincts. We're still tribal
Yeah.
creatures, and it now manifests its way in different.
But I share
forms.
my customers with everyone else.
Yeah.
So they're still buying from these other brands and everything else.
Yeah.
But they're also buying from me. So they're helping me live. And so the groups, I love the groups. They're great. They're hard work. I've kept it just myself moderating, just so I can spot the spam accounts trying to join, and the people that shouldn't be there, and the people that are just there for subversiveness and things like that. I mean, there's this is what I say, I've got like 3,500 to nearly 4,000 followers. I haven't got that many customers. I've got 4,000 plus in the community group. I haven't got that many customers. So I don't know what those people are doing there, but they're there if they're not causing problems.
Some people just like
But as a
taking in as much content as they can.
Yeah, exactly.
But the community side of it, that can be very attractive to anglers, whether they're getting into it or it's they're already in the ecosystem, but it's slightly different. They may be a large lure angler and they want to jump into the more finesse side of it. Yeah. And I found it with quite a lot of things was going into groups that were slightly off piece to what you do. Yeah. You can learn an awful lot like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when it is a community, not a bunch of assholes bickering.
Yeah.
When it is just a friendly community, you all grow together, and it's that you can learn an awful lot, and you can make some great friends, and so I think that's probably a real big up to you and what it is. The fact that you've got that when you don't have that many customers, because people obviously. I said to you on the way down when I put the shout out on multiple platforms about guests for our podcast. I mean, in multiple areas, you and the Brown was mentioned.
Yeah.
In areas that I didn't necessarily think that would be the case. So
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm blown away by it. it's like,
and you were mentioned
what I do.
quite a bit in quite a lot of posts. FFS Lures, you personally. I was like, so take that away. I mean, you've built a community around it with your groups and that. So I think that's fucking hats off to you, mate. I mean.
Yeah, well done.
And I mean that. It's like we don't have the biggest industry over here, and the fact that. Yeah. You can do a post of someone that isn't necessarily known for being in this industry. For me to put posts out on big pages and your name get dropped quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's Facebook. Without Facebook, I wouldn't have a business. That's the
brand awareness, isn't it? As much as people hate face ache, it's
like I said, when I first had it was just the page. It didn't really go anywhere. But when I had the group, and then people started to join it, and basically. I hate to say it, but it is a safe place. It's a safe place to post your pictures, even if it's not caught on what I make. Don't divert people's attention from what I do make. But people say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't catch this on one of yours, but check out this chub."
Yeah,
yes. People like
Lovely.
seeing fish. I think that's where you're saying, you got this many followers, but not that many customers. And lads, we were talking about this in the first couple of episodes of the podcast. Lads like fishing. Now, you might be a perch angler, but you see a trophy shop of a carp, you can't help but go, that's cool.
Yeah.
And there's like...
I just wish the carp guys would smile.
You're not allowed to. You can't look at the camera and you can't smile.
You got to lovingly at the tail.
or you've got to go for the new ones of the cradle ones. Going back to some of the old school stuff.
Yeah.
Or some of the early... I'm going to get roasted now. I can't remember his name. I've been out of it for too long.
Is it the water emerge?
Yeah, the water. Or they used to do the old Rod Hutchinson. It used to be like right down on your knees. And they'll be holding it like Chris Yates' one as well when he's holding it.
It's on your arms, yeah.
Yeah, and it's some of that stuff's coming.
I saw a video on Facebook.
Don't ever watch your rings.
Yeah.
Because you'll get. Oh, I've seen.
I saw the video come up the other day. It was a piss take of all the holding positions. It was a band, and it was like the banjo, the club, and
the rifle.
Yeah, and I was like, that is. Although it was a total piss take, you do see those that the guys that maybe not necessarily that into their fishing.
Banana fingers, we used to call it in carp fishing. You get that up over the front of it like that.
There was some generally hilarious poses.
You've got to tuck your hands in. You're holding a pet fin, and you're trying to not stick that finger up the carp's arse, and you're just like trying to hold this thing like that. The amount of times the digits almost slipped in, and you were just like, especially when you're holding like a 40-pounder, you're just like,
It's funny.
But lads, like if you're. I was having this conversation with my mate the other day, and everyone's going to say nameless after that, but we're having a conversation about a certain person, and that certain person is only ever he's quite new to it all, fishes on charter boats, and you're like, how can I do this without butchering it? He's not an angler, okay? He's not an out and out, loves it angler. There's more to it than with what they're doing, and we're out there fishing all the time. What we live and breathe is fishing. And I was trying to get this point across to this person to do with some branding and to do with some other stuff they're doing. I'm like, you're missing the point on what this is our life.
Yeah.
You know, everything that we do is fishing. I'm led in bed thinking about fishing. I'm trying to work on one of the other.
His t-shirt. Yeah.
I'm trying to work on the self-storage business, and I'm halfway through doing like reconciling stuff on Zero, and I'm looking on Windy to see what the wave heights are like, thinking, get on the boat this afternoon, you know, and everything consumes I've stopped some of it now with our holidays, would be looking to go away somewhere, and I'll be like, ooh, I wonder if they've got a carp lake on site, or can I get my LRF gear in, my travel rod in the suitcase in, because we're going, it's all about fishing, and once you're that consumed into fishing, I'm like, I don't spend a lot of time on my own personal social media, but the stuff that comes up is all fishing. And I'm looking at perch, I'm looking at zander, I'm looking at carp, I'm looking at chub, I'm looking at tuna, I'm looking at bloody mahi, like GTs, anything to do with fishing, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. So when the algorithm gets you.
Oh yeah, it's got me. Yeah, it's good. But I'm also actively searching it out, because when that algorithm does throw like some of your customers are like, right, they're probably just they're after perch more than they're after pike, or
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that my customer base is mostly beginners, and they go on that journey with me. So that's how I'm very beginner friendly. I don't sell anything to people just for the money. I sell one guy, and he's a really good friend to FFS Lures, a guy called Bailey Payne, got his own YouTube channel, Essex Angler, nice lad. He's helping me with my social media now. He's an affiliate. But when he first started, he was in that, if I put a worm on it, just works. So like, stop fishing worms for a start. If you want to do lure fishing, get away from bait. Yeah. Because you just got to get away from it. And I said, look, and just choose one lure. And I'll tell you, just buy a 40mm Craw 21 in June bug and learn to fish it. And for the first year,
get some confidence in it.
Get confidence and learn what it feels like. Learn how that whatever you do there on that rod tip is what that's doing down there. Because you move it 6 inches there, that lure on the lightweight is going to move 2 foot. So you've got to really work out how you're going to work it and everything else. And he's had some lovely fish now, and he's so passionate about his fishing. That's what he wants to do. He's been picked up by shops. He's then gone away from shops because it was too restrictive. That he wanted to use my stuff. They said, no, I can't use his stuff because we don't sell it. And he's like, well, but he taught me how to lure fish, so I'm going to stick with Tom. And that's lovely. Some people, nice. they're not there. They want to.
Some people get an ego and go, oh, sorry, mate, I've been picked up by this shop, see you later.
Exactly. And that's happened to me. And I'm like, okay. And he's just like, whatever. That's where it's just business.
But I bet his feed is full up of other fishing stuff. Yeah. His own personal feed isn't just his predator fishing. There's all that other fishing that comes into around it because he's an angler.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
love all forms of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Just gets you.
I am just, I get passionate about, or I get very into what I'm into at that time. So I keep saying to myself every year, there's a lovely pit near me with some huge tench in it. Tench was my thing. And I
Your
will,
rising float method.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
it, the lifting
yeah.
floats.
Yeah, but then I sort of in Essex, it was scaled down cart tactics, just using maggots as bait. But you'd spend so much time prepping for overnighter, so you're there in the morning when the bite was, and then that was it. Whereas lure fishing, I've just found, right, I'm going to go. So when I was first learning, and this is sort of thing I try and say to new guys in the sport, I haven't blanked in a very long time. I've not caught 2-pounders every time I've been out, but I've not blanked. But when I first started, for 2 years, I blanked a lot. But I learnt from those blanks.
You have to embrace the
You
blank.
have to embrace the blank. But I was also very fortunate that I was fishing 3-4 times a week, maybe twice a day, because I had that job where I was week on, week off. So my amount of blanks in 2 years, if you were doing that on just one Sunday a month, that's like 5 or 6 years of blanks.
It's really disheartening.
And that's really disheartening. So you just got to bring people down to reality and say, look, you are going to blank because you don't know what that does to that and why that does that. And even when you get a bite, you're like, was that a bite? Or you're going to smash into a snag and then you're going to pull through a break instead of trying to ping out of a break. And then you're going to be retying. And this is what I say to people, don't take too much. Take maybe 3 lures, 3 lure patterns, 3 colours. But if I start on, if I look at the water conditions and decide that water condition is a June bug colour, that's all I'm fishing with. I might change the lures if I feel like it, or I might change the technique if I feel like it. But the more time you spend going into a box, I wonder if that'll work. That's the time you're not doing that.
Yeah.
You're not fishing.
Do you do a lot of testing while you're out still with new colours? Or you just know what you've got is what you've got and you don't feel the need to bring new stuff in?
I used to do dual colours. But they were very labour intensive and a lot of wastage in the dual colours because I'm a perfectionist. It's
Can you
just
charge
part
a
of it.
premium for that and make it the high end?
I'm bringing them back. I'm bringing them back. I don't want to, but yeah, it's out there. I'm bringing them back. But I'm only going to bring back 3 or 4 colours that people really liked, and they keep messaging me saying, "Oh, I'll bring back the gonk," which is it's a reactive colour on top, which is a brown, but if you hold it up to the light, it's a pale blue, and then it had a pearl bottom.
So they're going to have a higher price point to them.
Yeah, and a minimum order, so it's going to be packet of 10, and I'm going to make stock. So once that stock's gone, it won't be back in stock until I make it again.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other stuff is
Made to order.
and it's there, and it's always going to be there.
I think that's a really good thing, though. I think that makes a niche product.
Yeah, so if you got a premium, I remember watching someone on YouTube say, "Yeah, I've got one product on there that's like $6,000," and I thought that's never going to sell. But people go, "That's $6,000. I'm going to have that one."
The American swim bait industry is exactly that, and they'll make a batch of lures, soft swim baits. Yeah. They'll do 100 of them. Once they're gone, they're gone. I mean,
we're just about to do something with the bars. We're having the conversation out there before we started. In fact, I've just just as you were coming in, I was scheduling a post to go up tomorrow for it. I was filming one of my test bars coming up through the water, and I'm messing about going, "Oh, it's a test bar. You can't see it."
Yeah.
No. And I'll take my hand away, and it is what it is. It's a colour, you know. But I can't be doing custom orders for everybody where they go, "I want this colour with this colour on a bar and this colour with this colour." And now we've got silly season out the way at the beginning of the season. I'm going to do some one-offs, put them in here to photograph them. This is the one bar that's in this colour. First person that orders it, I ain't making another one.
No.
I'm not going to hike the price point up because the material, it doesn't actually take me longer to do it.
No,
and
so
I've
it's
already
just,
got it.
it's just there, but...
If I have loads of custom orders, I'm gonna end up getting things wrong. And someone's gonna go, "Why have I got this pink with the green when I ordered a pink with the black and an orange with the blue?" And I'm like, "Oh, I tried the wrong bar and colour combination on that." So it's more for me than anything else.
Yeah.
But when we go through, now everybody's ordered their kit and they're fishing with it. No one's going to want gear for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
No.
And we might even now, like autumn's here already, whether we like it or not. By the end of October, the weather's going to be blowing out there, and a lot of lads won't be going to sea.
Yeah.
I would be surprised now if we have another run on gear like we did at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, because then next season they've still got the gear from last season.
Yeah, they've still
so
got gear, and we're about to go back into sort of like awareness mode of, you know, instead of just going, oh, look at this tuner on a set of lip grips, or look at this, or look at that. We're now looking at what we can do differently to keep the brand awareness going. And one of those things is I've got these custom bars up my sleeve, which we're going to do for people, I think. But he said that it's that going back to what you're going to do with that premium product. I think people really like that, and there's a marketplace for that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to do, and this is something that I've always said I won't do. I'm going to do these boxes. People always ask me about boxes. And the reason I don't do boxes is because what the industry standard for boxes is pump. It's terrible. Because
it's a fladden,
they put
hanging in the corner, mackerel. It's got some terrible layers in it, some floats you never use, some lead weights you're never going to use.
Yeah, and also, so like there's a certain brand out there that does a drop shot.
What are they called?
Oh, I don't want to. I don't want to. But they've got one lure of each type. They've got a hook that's far too big. They've got the line which is far too heavy.
Is it Fox?
Kinda.
I guess I didn't.
But the way I see it is that I would rather someone have a packet of 5 lures, because if you get on the fish and you've got that one lure type, that's your day finished.
Yeah.
Because it's gone.
Yeah.
Well, so for me, for a box, I want to have five of each colour in there, so that people get, and just a restricted colour as well.
That's a super handy box. That is your days, weeks fishing in a rucksack with some lunch.
Like you said, you just top that up every now and then with a couple of packets here and there of your regulars.
Yeah, so I've got guys now that only buy in packs of 20 because they've gone through that phase of, oh, what do I want? I'll have that and that and that and that and that. And they go, actually, Core 21 in green pumpkin is for me. There's the air chamber. That's how they float.
It's amazing, isn't it?
For the listeners, Andy's just held up one of Tom's baits and was clicking it in front of the microphone.
Which is the FFS. That is the
that
is the original. That is the original.
That's where it all started.
That's where it all started. The floating finesse stick. That's the Mark IV of it. So even though it's a simple lure, I went through. That's the 4th variation of it. So the first one was using a floating plastic. Did you sell all
4 of them, or was it a development stage for the?
No, it was a sale of all 4, and then you get the feedback and everything else. And then this was the mode that. In fact, I was over in Belgium, and one of the guys I was fishing with, we were fishing in 19 foot of water at Plashendale, and I said, look, I've done this air cavity. Let's see if there's any water in it when it comes out of 19 foot of water. And we're like, nope, nope. So it still works. You've got that. I don't fish 19 foot of water every day.
That's a pretty rare thing, right?
Yeah, especially in the UK, it's not a thing. So
6 foot at a push, isn't it? Most canals.
Yeah. So
see the bottom of a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. So having that little stick pop up on a Texas or Cheb or Ned head, it works. Plus, it takes away a bit of the amount of plastic. So it's actually it's very supple and it just folds.
So I've got a question.
Yes.
So obviously the claws here are stuck to it. So is that so you can fish it like this, but if you want to and have it all free moving, you can essentially just pull them?
Yeah, so Crawl 21, I've done it that
Crawl 21. Crawl.
Yeah.
Crawl 21.
Crawl 21.
What's the 21 for? 2021?
That's when I did it, yeah, that's when it came out. So I looked at other manufacturers and they don't change their designs. So I wanted to have a design that's going to be timeless, and that's my crawl bait, timeless crawl bait.
I love the detail in it, how it comes around in.
So I've done those for packaging purposes. So they're stuck together, so when they're in the packaging, they don't deform and become horrible. But also, if you want a do-nothing lure in the winter, you keep everything connected. Yeah. If you then want more movement, you start taking those tentacles
off.
And then that's
customise the presentation.
Yeah. So I'm all about sort of lure customization. I cut lures down, so I've even cut that in half and just fished it.
They go straight back to size though. You were saying about them being in the packet.
Yeah, but
Just squeeze that with everything.
Yeah, but when
if
they're
they
in your bag
fold-
for 6 months,
Yeah.
and stuff they're folded over,
mean like
they'll
that?
come out.
Yeah. If that tentacle twists and it's stayed there for months, that'll just be fine.
Yeah. But after a while, yeah, they do.
After a while, it will
If you
deform.
drop them back into hot water, do they not pop back into?
Not really. But then again, if I've got that many lures in my pocket, I've got too many.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
100%.
the. There you go.
Sticky little buggers, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that's the.
Cat-like. Did you like that?
Fucking ninja.
So one thing, this is something that some people said, why did you do this? Why did you make this when you want people to buy you more lures? And I'm like, well, because some people want to.
Because you got high. Well, it's potent, I'll give you that one.
So this is something that, again, I make that in-house. It's a solvent-based.
You make this yourself?
Yeah, that's me. Everything in that box.
He's a right little alchemist wizard, isn't he? It's the beard.
Apart from the hooks, everything in that box I made.
Apart from the box.
Apart from the box, the hooks, and the weights, everything else I've made.
That's really good. I really, well done.
So that.
Now, was that customer feedback to have that, or was that you? I want to make her a solvent to repair lures.
That was me, because I bought some glue, some other manufacturers' glue, and when I looked at the ingredients, it's super glue.
Yeah,
It's just super glue, which leaves a residue. It goes hard. Whereas this stuff, because it's solvent and it's actually got the resin of the plastic that I use in
It's
there,
a chemical reaction, yeah.
It's a chemical reaction. It welds back together.
Does the top end stick over with this stuff once you've used them a few times? Because I use a fly fishing glue for when I'm putting my top shots onto. I get it from Rock Tax, Rock Max, but some people know it as. But I don't know what it's called. But yeah, every time I go to get it out after a month, it's just the top's gone crusty.
No, that's as it is. Shall we do something?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go crazy.
Oh, you savage.
Let's go absolutely crazy.
I want to see a bastardization of two lures glued together that aren't supposed to be together now. Let's make a FFS Franken lure.
This is what.
Have you done any of that? Do people actually do that?
Yeah, if you bring up the website of actually how I've marketed it is exactly that. So this will not. It's not a clean cut. It may or may not.
Would you just edit it out and make it look good?
Oh, maybe we'll make it look dog's bollocks. Scissors really is what you need, isn't it? To cut a nice
scissors
cut.
for that. But if that stays there, give that 20 minutes. It's not going to be a perfect one. But if you go on to, I think it's going to be an essential lure repair. Sorry, a terminal tackle lure repair. That's it.
Oh, yeah. Quality.
And so the guys, one of my customers, he used Westin stuff with Pike, and he's repaired his Westin lures with it. So as long as it's plastisol base, so not that really stretchy TPE.
Elastic stuff. Yeah.
So as long as it's not that, you can do what you like. But it repairs
Again,
the
for the
lures.
listeners, we've basically got up Tom's website and he's gone on to the lure repair section and he's got some stills of where he's basically cut two lures from opposite colours, stuck them back together to effectively customise lures, and we've done that also here physically. Yeah. Obviously, you're not going to be able to see that.
Yeah, it's not an instant thing because it's a solvent. It takes 20 minutes. So the next
it's a repair at home.
It's a repair. Yeah. So one of the things with the IMBY, that's one that people really did. So I slashed this. This is a prototype big swim bait that I'm making.
How big?
25 centimetre.
Oh, even better.
Pike special.
Yeah, and I've got to airbrush the colours on it.
Oh, cool.
So that's it been slashed. And then the next one will show it being a little video of it. That's how it repairs a slashed bait.
Cool. Is that going to come with a hook in it, or is that something that you will rig up?
That's going to be a stinger hook, either a BKK. I'll start stocking them, which is like a double hook underneath.
Does its job, doesn't it?
It does. So,
and as a piker from back in the day, I spent hours upon hours with a lighter and a knife, welding my rubbers back together. Bulldogs and because they were so expensive and so hard to get hold of.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacks would fuck them up, and then you'd end up with a load of lures that were ruined. You know?
Exactly. So that's so that's what I did. Yeah. So I I found out how to make it. And
YouTube.
yeah, but I can't tell you because everyone do it.
Yeah. No, fair play, Tom. I mean, fucking hell, yeah. I mean,
There's not many people that would go and do that. What they would have done is go and find some super glue and had it made in their own bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. There's some things, and I suppose this is a topic that I didn't want to get onto, but we can.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Right.
Some things have to be imported. This is the thing that I'm really disappointed with brands because they're just importing.
It's a cost bet. So
a lot of it isn't. No, okay. So I'll go this a different way. Because of what I do, I see when someone brings out a new bit of luggage, I put that image into Alibaba and I see what.
Bang. Yeah, straight away. That's what I do. Yeah, yeah.
I see what it is, and all it's had is a rebrand. And then you start thinking, well, are these brands actually? Are they just going shopping, or are they doing R&D?
I would say
is China the copying centre that we think it is, or is it the innovative centre?
So there's a place called Weihai. There's a place called Weihai in China, and this is the fishing capital of the world. All they have in that city, you can find scope rods. You can find you'll find everything, absolutely everything. I think that the top brands have done R&D. They've had it made overseas, and then those factories go, "Ooh, look what we've got."
Yeah.
Now we'll repackage this, and it's become a sliding scale. My dad had a software company in there. They were having their radios made in China. All of a sudden, they were getting these warranty claims come in, and they were opening them up, going,
"It's not one of ours.
These are not on our radios."
Yeah.
But we know where they've come from the production line in China, where we went, "We'll have 10,000 of these systems made."
Yeah.
Well, they make 15,000, and then they sell the other 5. So they had to bring all of their work. They brought it into Eastern Europe in the end to have it all made.
Yeah.
But it had a massive price implication.
Yeah.
I would love to be making squids like you do, putting them on my bars like I do. Those bars would have to be 400 quid a bar.
Yeah, it's there's a price point to it. I mean,
the world isn't ready for 400 quid tuna gear bars yet. When they are, I'll be front and centre of that market. But
my dream,
they're sharp, aren't they?
My dream is to have a lure manufacturing factory in the UK, supplying UK brands. Will it happen? I don't know, because it's one of those things. But all these brands, we're propping up China's economy. We're not putting anything back in. So
mainly propping up the CCP. Then you know.
So if someone buys from me, they're helping me survive and putting my life in a better place and doing it. If you're buying from those websites you said before, all that money, it's not coming in. So I pay my tax, so it goes back into our pot. But you send your money to those websites, it doesn't stay here. It just goes straight out. So we're losing out. I mean, that's getting quite geopolitical, but we're losing out massively by these companies.
The problem is we outsourced all our manufacturing.
Yeah. So hooks now, you look at all the hooks, unless it's actually made in Japan or made in South Korea, they're all made in China.
They're all made in Weihai.
Yeah, they're all made there. So all these claims of this and this, I might as well just go to Alibaba and get my own hooks and brand them myself, because that's what other brands are doing.
I went down that route, but until I couldn't find exactly what I wanted, and you can't go wrong with a Bristow or a VMC, so I buy from Bristow VM. Yeah.
Because I've seen
it's damn expensive.
I mean, I've seen jig heads. So my little jig heads, they're direct from manufacture in China, but they're using the same ones as the other guys have. But the big brand, they're just getting them from there.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah.
And putting their brand on it and charging.
Because manufacturing in the UK is, if I could go more deep, more niche with Tuna Gear, which we're probably going to do anyway over the next couple of years, I don't want to do so many off-the-shelf colours that we do. We're probably going to go down more this customised route.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put the price up. And you can catch on the best bars, or you can catch on whatever it is. It's going to turn into a race to the bottom on prices in the end, and that's not good for anybody.
No, it's not.
I would love... A couple of people have said to me where I sell my bars, you should have handmade in the UK on it. And I'm like, it is, but the only all my terminal tackle comes from America, from AFW.
Yeah.
The 4 mil stainless rod that goes through the middle, that comes from Metals for You.
Yeah.
Everything else comes from China. It's you're on a bit of a blag going handmade in the Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and even that steel's probably come from a Chinese factory and just sold via Metals for You.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
It's the way of the world, and it's. I watched. No, I didn't. I listened to an audiobook, and
Which one?
it was I think it might have been a Douglas Murray.
I like Douglas Murray. He doesn't beat about.
He doesn't
the bush,
beat around the
sadly.
bush, and he was saying about the Chinese dominance in everything, and one of the quotes was, "Look, manufacturing in America's on the way. It's China. I'm just trying to get you on the ledger. I'm trying to get you in and make sure you can survive. I would love to. I want to employ British people or people. I want to employ people of this land. I want that to keep happening. So if one of the American places that supplied all bass tackle, they do Strike King, they started like me. But then they outsourced. They gave the moulds and equipment to people that would outsource and make it. So everything is handmade. Then they went machine. And now they've gone CNC, computer machine. So even their hand paws are actually computer driven on machines. But they supply the majority of the US plastics.
Yeah.
And it's a model that should work. Because I remember talking to guys about... there's a brand called Guggen. The American bait makers hate it with a passion.
Yeah,
because
it's a very polarising brand, isn't it?
Yeah, because
of who they are, what they do.
Because of where the plastic comes from. Because they didn't choose the American factories. They chose to go to China. And that's how polarising it is. And it's... I suppose it might be because of my military background where I believe that we can, so therefore we should.
Well, yeah, we can. We've got all the capabilities.
Yeah.
We've just become lazy.
Yeah.
Is one of our problems. Everything's outsourced. Everything's click of a button. Everything's here in 24 hours.
Yeah, everything's cheap. How can you send a packet of lures from mainland China for 99p? It's got to be subsidised, isn't it?
Yeah. It has to be. Yeah.
And you just think that's there's something there, but that's I suppose that's just the way of the world, isn't it?
Bought some aggregates for my boat, and I got them on a 3 to 5 day priority out of America for like $40. God, that's cheap.
Yeah.
You know, but when the world's that open and that quick to get things over here, I want English outriggers on my boat, but nobody makes them to start with. The market's not here yet. But yeah, if you start making if you make a moulding house, and you can have all my orders for my squids. Yeah. I'd go super niche with it. I'd love to see that 300 quid tuna bar, not because I'm making 250 quid on it, but because I've pumped a load of money back into the English economy.
It's a premium product, and
it's a premium product, and you get what you pay for. We do it in my other businesses, in the removals, in the self storage. We source as much locally as we can. Being in Devon, we're at the back end of a lot of it. We're miles and miles from London. The only thing I can't really source at a decent price is cardboard boxes, but our uniforms, logo designs, van hires, all these things, I source as much as I can locally.
Yeah, just
because I want it back in the local economy, because that's better for me. That means house prices go up and this goes up and people want to come down here and spend money. Yeah. They don't want to come to a scabby old Victorian seaside town. They go, oh, it's nice down here actually. It's not as bad as people make out. And the only way you can do that is keep money local.
Yeah.
In the pot.
So with that then, so that segues again nicely into moving forward and things growing. Where would you like to see FFS going? You know, where's this going next? What's next
thing?
for
so
you?
Again, listening to the Ben Field podcast, we are so similar.
Did that open a can of worms up?
Oh, it really did. I'm driving down in the pouring rain last night, and it was just like, wait a minute. Oh no, have I?
Oh fuck!
I'm not looking for a diagnosis, but it does make sense.
There's some alarm bells going off here.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, yeah. So I've got so many projects that I don't finish. I've got all this, I've done that, and you're just like...
There's a few of us on the spectrum in this room, mate. Won't worry about it.
But on the other hand, it's what makes me me, so I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm not fussed about it. I'm not. I'm not going to shout it from the rooftop, say this is this, this is that.
But I think it's a good thing to have at times, because although you've got all these other projects, look what you have got.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people go, oh, I'd like my own lure brand.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too hard to do.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
That exact mindset is the reason that's there in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
So-
just spent the last week designing an aquarium filter for shrimp tanks, and 3D printed it. I've gone through. I'm on Mark 4. It's all. It's all.
you into
it's all
like those little
airlift.
cherry shrimps and stuff, and those nano tanks.
Yeah. So
It's got a charcoal section in it for buffing the water.
It's got. So I've gone back old school. So the bottom section is gravel.
Yeah.
The next section is buffering substrate. So I've got 2 sections of that. So that's 1 litre in there. And then the top section again is gravel. So I've got, it comes in from the top through an air bubble or through an air diffuser that I've 3D printed and designed. So there's no external.
Is this like these old, because back in the day when I've been keeping fish for like
It's like, it's
30 years, you used to have those
under
box
gravel.
filled.
Yeah, under
Oh,
gravel.
Yeah, you used to have the under
Yeah.
gravel,
Yeah.
and you have a power head or an air pump
Yeah.
blowing water in.
Yeah.
But you used to get those little clear box filters in the corner, gravel
exactly-
in the bottom.
Yeah, it's exactly that. So I've just done that, but because I've designed a new aquascape where I've glued slate together to make a tower waterfall,
That's
I
a
needed
lot
something
for it
hidden
itself.
behind that. So I've designed the filter to sit behind there and bubble up over the top. But that's where my brain goes. But I've been doing that constantly. So 3 o'clock in the morning, get on the CAD. That I do.
It's amazing
Make
how
sure-
much productivity happens at 3 in the morning,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, maybe it's age. Maybe it's because I need a piss.
I think I've had enough kip at that stage.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I can function after that.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm awake.
I do need to
Done.
Red Bull at some point. But yeah, I'm good to go. It comes back to the removal days of flying all over the country and then sat there doing surveys till 9 o'clock at night, passing out, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning going, oh, I'll do those invoices, well, I've got to be on the road at 5, I might as well have a shower and some breakfast now, and you're just good to go.
Yeah. So actually, I've just
Probably a
moved on to the
military
question.
thing with you as well.
Yeah, it's just that I might get out, do it. But where's FFS? I again, listening to Ben, I need to go into retail. I need to go into retail outlets. The reason I don't do retail outlets, my packaging is biodegradable packaging.
Expensive.
Not so much expensive in that it doesn't stand up next to the other brands.
Yeah.
So the other brands spend thousands on their packaging. I could spend thousands on my packaging, but then my price goes up. So I've kept it very simple in that, and let's face it, when someone buys my lures, they get the packet, they come out of that packet, they go in one of them. The packet's then binned. So
Yeah.
I've gone down the biodegradable packaging route just to help me sleep at night, even though I don't. So I can't then put that in a tackle shop and compete with
Paul at Max Attracts
the colourful people.
Baits. You can watch this. So I had this conversation. This is my mate's bait brand. Shout out Matt Holland. And he was going out into all the tackle shops. So he's a carp angler.
Yeah.
Makes boilies, pop ups, glugs. Super. He's into it like you're into this. Ping their products up quickly. One of their product shots. Products. Bang. See those pop up lids?
Yeah.
Red. Only pop-up lid in the country that's red. Everyone else uses black or clear.
Yeah.
Instantly, your brand stands out.
Yeah. The trouble with these is that when they go into a packet, and unless I get a plastic insert, they'll sit in that packet on that shelf, and they'll
Sag down. And
they'll sag down.
Don't the Z-Mans in those Sealy bags, doesn't that happen with their stuff?
No, it's just that thing. So when I want the first impression of my lures, no matter who has them, to be perfect.
Yeah.
So
You've
even
got to
if
look at
it's
them blister packs to hold them up in uniform, and then the
it's-
price is
price goes
escalating
up.
massively. Yeah.
All your packaging is from China, so the minimum order is 10,000 packets.
Yeah, MOQs are big.
Yeah, MOQs are huge.
It's a vicious circle to what we just spoke about then, isn't it? It's about you're taking an element of what you want to be a domestic brand for the UK.
Yeah.
You if you want to scale up, let's not say it won't happen, but you have to embrace a little bit of that.
But I've worked out how to do it. So I stock Westin now. So to subsidise what I do, I stock Decoy, I stock Westin, I stock HTO, I've got to get in touch with Ben because he hasn't done his website yet. But now I know why he hasn't done his website yet. Because I'm on his stockers list. So I'm going to get Eco Gear in. I've got the K-Tech.
I've
got
just
all that stuff in.
Stockist list as well,
Yeah.
funnily enough, for a certain brand.
Yeah.
What's on your head?
No, it's not this one. No,
Is it not?
No,
It's turncoat.
So, but pick and mix. People love a pick and mix. So what I'm going to do is the same as Westin do with their lures. You go in a tackle shop, it's a box, and there are blister packs on there. But that means that those craws can sit flat in a blister, on a blister, in a box, and people can go, oh, that's nice, and I have one of them, take it to the counter, and it's done. So I don't have to have a hanging section.
Did you see how Ben did it back in the day?
Blister pack. A Western blister pack.
Yes, so what they do a
you
bulk.
Google that,
They
mate?
do a bulk box.
I need to understand what
Basically, plastic trays within a
Plastic
cardboard
trays,
box where
yeah.
it's just loot. It'd be like, say, 50 lures in a box that you can just pick. Oh, I want 3 of them. You're not buying a pack. You can literally pick one lure out of it.
individual.
Yeah. If you
It's
go
like
on,
pick and mix for sweets.
yeah,
For lures,
Westin Shad Teas bulk box will probably come up.
So go on images.
Yeah, so that
It's a bit
itself,
like that, innit? Yeah.
So that would be a layer in a box.
Yeah, there'd be, say, 10 of them
Yeah.
stacked on top of each other, and you just take the top layer off.
The box is then branded, so I don't have to brand every individual packet. I just brand the box.
Yeah, it's like a fold. The lid folds back on
That's
itself
right.
and tucks in, which will have the POS will be on the lid,
That's
pointing
it.
at you, and you just take what you want.
Yeah,
Now Ben did it, as we said, pick a mix, and it was all the odds and sods were put in sweet jars on a shelf like a pick a mix sweet shop. And then when you could go in there and you could just take them out on glass jars. It worked. It looked class. It was great. It was clean.
yeah. It's sort of like, I mean, you must have been over to Sweden and all the shops in there. I remember one of the garrison towns in Germany, the tackle shop there, they just had their soft plastics was all pick and mix. It was just dumped in these on the shelf in separate compartments, and you just go in and go, well, I have one of them, one of them, one of them, one of them.
The little plastic spares trays from an engineering workshop.
Really good idea.
Yeah, a bit like you used to do with floats, wagglers, back in the day when they used to cost 40p.
And that is how they and that is how they do it. I mean, that is that pick and mix, and it's when you like. So I remember the original Fosters of Birmingham and things like that, where you had all the pike baits out in bulk pack, and you just literally you just got a basket and filled out yourself, like, you know.
Yeah, so that's how I plan to go into retail, and not everything. So I've gone away from the dual colours because of problems with last year. Last year was awful for me, like business wise. It didn't rain. It didn't stop raining from October. So
everybody had the same problem.
Yeah, my season is it's the winter.
Terrible.
Oh yeah. But we had from the last week of September to the first week of May. The rivers all here were full spate. I had one pike session on the rivers the whole winter.
Yeah, and then they're closed.
Yeah.
So as soon as it started getting better, it was like, right, we're going to sell some lures, and it's a closed season.
It was real hard for a lot of us in the shops or down here, and brutal. And I just hope, touch wood, we get a better winter this year, because we need it after the absolute.
It's because of the El Nino.
Fucking
Well, this is why I want to get into salt.
Yeah.
This is why I want to get into the salt market. So, you know, if this box is for you guys, get out there. I know you love your bass fishing.
Yeah.
And I've got a few customers that fish in the salt and use them, and they're catching some nice pigs.
Yeah.
So
deadly. I mean, that will absolutely slay them.
Yeah.
That's a bit smaller than what I would use, but I mean, but in essence.
Yeah. I mean, it's about the size of a small peeler crab, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, 3 or 4 inches is what we use, but that's. You can go down the more finesse route of it, and it's very successful. I mean, we tend to use a slightly bit bigger, but in essence, what you're doing there, in those colours, your June bugs, that black and blue, just batter them, you know. So,
I love how sharp these hooks are.
I mean, decoy are great.
Decoy with the bollocks.
Decoy are absolutely
I've
fantastic.
been pulling it through this, trying to get the point off of it and jamming it into the end of my finger.
Yeah.
And the point will not go away. It's a really good hook.
Yeah.
Really, really good hook.
It's really good. This is come off of the LRF species hunt. So this is a little prototype thing that I've been working on. So these are so small.
Is that salt?
Yeah, it's salt. So I package my lures in salt. It's an old school method to stop them sticking together and to stop them sticking to the packaging. So it keeps it all.
Everything.
It's a dry lube.
They would be so good.
Yeah. So that's come off that, but that mould, I've 3D printed it. So instead of CNCing, which for that size I'd need to use like 0.2 end mills, 0.2 mil, which you don't even know if they've snapped.
No way.
So that's what I'm looking at for the multi-species guys, because when I did that, I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and especially on unscented.
How well it works.
Yeah, so that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Not fishing bait, you're fishing a lure. So I said in one of my podcasts here, it was a guest or my own one with us. I was very much one of those. When I lived in Plymouth, I was an open hater of it. I was like, why the fuck would I want to fish up pull my line? Obviously, being a travelling guide, I've fished quite a lot. And I was absolutely against it, but I
get it.
It was like a scene out of Happy Gilmore, where you see Matey Boy round the back of the bush running up trying to hit the golf ball. They caught him down in the docks and I reckon, didn't they?
But actually,
no, I wasn't really.
I found it on the side. But I'll tell you now, I tell you what, when I got into it, like the chasing of flounder and gurnard and things like that on LRF, it got me hook, line and sinker, excuse the pun. I was absorbed with it. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
So although I was very much a hater at the start of it, I wasn't. When I got into it, and just my nature of having the best gear, I had access to some of the best brands, and I oh my god, it swallowed me whole. And so when I see stuff like that, that I know. For instance, I know for a fact when we were doing the British saltwater champs and stuff like that back in the day. that you just slay stuff with that.
Well, I've got even that on so multi-species on freshwater. So
rudd and all sorts.
Rudd are nice and easy. I want to go down to stickleback, stone loach. Really, tiny. Every species.
I started netting sticklebacks in the Reen. I grew up in Bristol.
Yeah.
We used to go and it's just a drainage ditch. We called it the Reens.
Yeah.
We out there netting sticklebacks. I just loved it.
Yeah, but they're massively predatorial.
They're really aggressive.
Really aggressive. So if I can design a lure which will get that, and it's there.
Whose hands this would be good in? Young Tom's.
Yeah.
Young Tom's would be a good place to place this because he would actually do a load of stuff on it.
Yeah.
I'll drop him a message if you don't mind.
I think he works with one of his competitors. But.
Oh no, I work with.
You work down and
with Momo. We're mates.
Yeah, cool,
we're working together. Whether he's happy with it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Let's see this. Yeah, that wasn't. But there you go. That's how.
Yeah.
That's on. If it was a clean cut, that would be.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah.
It's a go home, get a razor blade job out, cut it down a little bit, and get
it. Like you showed it with your pike swim bait. For that, that's where I envisaged it.
Yeah.
It's black minnows in the bass, or like I say, the big swim baits that get smashed.
Even the people. So when they're drop shotting or they're using the EWG type hook, that tears up. The end to it. Yeah. So people after their session, they get back to their car, they just put a dab of that, put it back in the packet, and it's done. Ready to go for next time. It doesn't do me any good in sales. I might have to raise the price of the weld it stuff, but it's there so people are feeling like they're not being bent over. Not that I'm bending them over, but no one likes to think, there's another one, I've got to order some more. No. So that's why I do that, like 20 packs of 20. So that was my whole idea. I was trying to take the Bass Pro approach of what you're going to have. I'm going to have a 20 count of that. I'm going to have a 40 count of that. Because as soon as you get into that sort of style of fishing, the Senkos out there, people are buying home brand Senkos. Don't know if you can call them Senkos, stick baits. And but they're buying 30, 40, 100. That's their thing because they're going to throw that and it's going to get bit. It's going to get a hog on the bank and it's going to be knackered. Put it in the bag, put it in the pocket, put another one on.
Bass fishing back in the days when Bass Pro would send to the UK without too much drama, the amount of Bass Pro branded 4 and 5 inch Senkos and Green Pumpkin or that lot that we bought in bags of 100 because it was just like that was a slayer. They weren't readily available over here. There was a couple of places that you could get them in, but then obviously like the likes of Art Fishing and people like that, then that became a thing, kind of like the middle of 2000s. Yeah. But I love it. You know?
And they were all made in Southern Plastics in Alabama.
No way.
So
Dark South.
Yeah.
No, that's quality, man. That's real quality. I mean, it's it's nice to see, and I think you'll probably find that there's a lot of people that don't realise how actually fully involved in it. There will be 100% people who think FS lures, that's just molds bought from somewhere that pours pre-made molds and how you
best
start.
Stuff comes out of people's garages.
Yeah. So I think
cottage industry.
I think there'll be a lot of people.
I'm huge for it. I'll talk to you about something offline that I've got planned for people like me and yourself that is going to be great.
Hats off to you, because I think you would have surprised people that think that you were just pre-made molds that you just make your own colours. I don't think there'll be of course there's going to be an element of your community that know all about that it's you, you. But there's going to be people thinking, actually, fucking hell, I didn't realise that he designed all his own molds.
I'm the only person that does it in the UK so much in the house. So there's guys that have moulds made for them, so they're still using their own bespoke custom-made moulds, so they're still doing that. But there's other guys that are just copying, and I can't be doing that. So there's the TRD, you know, people say, oh, I can make these for you, and they're just cheaper, and you might as well. It's not where I want to be. No. That's
easy.
That's the side of it that I don't want to go down. That, but what's the point? I want to make something that's going to compete with.
Yeah, of course, it can sit along with it. Yeah.
So when I designed the Core 21, that was emotional, because I've got fishing buddies and I show them design. And they say, oh, is it as good as the Nimble? And the Crazy Fish Nimble, which is a very, very good lure. And I say, oh, make it more flappy. Fuck's sake. So it'll be another one, redesign, everything just done. Right, and there's another 5 hours work. What do you think? Prefer the Nimble. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
But they drove me to that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that has as much flap as a Nimble. That's got as much flap as a Rage Craw, which is super popular. It really is a thumpy, flappy fucker.
You can. It's nice to have somebody. So, like, this is not my go-to fishing in a mile away. Not going to lie, hadn't even heard of it. Danny was like, I've got this guy, got to book him a hotel. And I'm like, well, who is he before I book a hotel? Like, hang on a second. We said we're only doing this for Mick Ward's and Dave Lewis's and blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, no, trust me. Get him on. And you can tell how much love he's gone into this. And you haven't just gone to China and gone, I want this, and I'm going to stick it in some packaging and I'm going to bang them out.
Yeah.
You can tell they're fucking brilliant.
Thank you.
Really, really good.
Appreciate that.
You can see the love and the care in the R&D that's gone into something like this, and it's rare to see. Like you said, a lot of people just go, because you can go and buy the fish minnow. When I was hunting around for stuff in China,
Everywhere, doesn't it?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I even ordered some in, and I know Sam Kiddie, who's the distributor. I went over and went, look at these, and the box. If you took the writing off the fish box and took the Chinese writing off that box, you go, which one's which?
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
Identical. You probably know when you got out of the box, but it's like it's also it's almost like a cheat for somebody that wants to get in, wants a lure brand or wants a fishing business. There's almost like a fast forward cheat code that you can just go onto Alibaba and go.
Yeah, and the thing is, if I went there and said, because this is what really, I was asked if a big distributor that I get some products from, they said, oh, do you want us to distribute for you? I said, no, I'm too small. I couldn't keep up with that. There's no way I can keep up with that. Their instant answer was, I can put you in touch with our people in China.
Yeah, to make versions of your stuff.
Yes, and I'm like...
I've had that conversation with somebody as well.
Yeah, and I'm like, no. No, because that's not...
Because they're not going to use AFW Grand Slam. No. They're not going to be on a bench crimping it down to how I like it to be crimped. They're not going to be blobbing ends like I like it done.
They're not shooting that and going, right, that's the right temperature, that's in. It will all be on machine, but I have quality control steps. So as soon as I take it out of the mould, if that's no good, that goes, they just tear it up, put it back in, remelt it. When I come to package up, so every Wednesday and Friday, I package up, so they come off the rack. I then look at it again, oh, there's an air bubble in that, get rid of that. Yeah. That's what I mean. So every time a product of mine goes out, but I've also got to think about if you're fishing on the bank with my stuff and you tell, what are you using? I'm using this. And if it's a shit colour or if it's a really badly made, your first impression of my stuff is, well, that's crap. You might be using it because you're a loyal customer and you're You just want to help me out. But I won't ever get you as a customer.
No.
Because your first impression is that's
Yeah.
a bit poo.
Yeah.
So that's
Fair play.
that's just a perfectionist thing. It's hard work. It's hard work doing that. And
I'm
sometimes
definitely not a perfectionist, but this is something I'm working towards. Since I've had Tuna Gear, has been one of the, like, I've done many. Yeah, so I was crimping. I was doing one of the side flanks, and I've cut it a tiny bit too short, and I'm trying to pull this through the crimp, and I'm trying to hold it so that the loop protector, and I got it in there, I crimped it, and there's a tiny little bit of line you could see either side of the loop protector. This is on a side flank. It's never going to see a fish, never going to see anything. And I looked at it and I just went, just fucking retie it, bolt. Snap, 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 snap.
Yeah.
And it takes like 3 minutes to retie that thing, but that's where I've got a lot better because in my other companies I can hide, I'm faceless. I'm just an MD.
Yeah.
There's a team in front of me that if something goes wrong,
this is why
it's fishing brands.
Yeah, and this is why it's difficult for me to not be a perfectionist, because it is me. So people know FFS Lures is Tom Moir. So if I put crap out, it's me.
It's effectively you,
It's me that's done it. It's me that's taken that decision to go, I'll ignore that. And I'll get there and go, actually, sometimes I mess up and I say to someone on the phone, I phone them up and say, look, I'm just packaging your stuff, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy with how the finesse sticks came out, so I'm going to redo them. It's going to be a day. Okay, thank you for that, and that's it.
People like that.
Yeah, it's that personal thing. So every order I put out in the box, I had a sticker. Everyone loves a sticker. Put a little handwrite a message to the person, because it's how I want to be treated.
Yeah,
it's how I want to be treated by the tackle shops. So that's how I treat my customers.
I've got a load of... There are actually envelopes from when we were going to approach all the chart boats. I've still got all those logoed envelopes up. It's the right little thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your custom.
Big ups, tight lines.
So when you eventually, hopefully, scale up, how do you think that you're going to be able to scale you up?
He's not.
It's
impossible.
It is so difficult.
It's as devil's advocate, because I know the answer.
It's. I have reached max capacity, but business has been bad this year, or last year leading into this year. So then I dropped down. So I was making this. I was in a Angling Times article, and I was making like 1,000 lures a week, every week in the month. And they say, they didn't believe it. So it's like, 1,000 lures a month. No, that's an easy day. I'm doing that now, 1,000 a month. But when I was really busy at 1,000 a week, it was hard work. And that's why I didn't want to commit to anything, to say, yeah, I can do that for you, because I was burning out. So now I've got
It gets you, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I've actually got a new injection machine, which has finally come. It's taken 2 years to come from Switzerland. Wouldn't have thought that it would have been that bad from there, but it was.
But that was pricey.
Yeah, so it was it was $8,000. It was $8,000 of machine. And when they ghost you, you think, where's my machine?
Yeah.
Where's my money?
Yeah.
I've had to borrow that money, and I ain't got a machine. And that machine's been on the naughty step for the last 2 months. The last part finally came in, and I said to the missus, I don't want it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to look at it. And for 2 months, I've just been like, you're a dick. You put me through so much stress. But now that's going to go in, and that's...
embracing the next stage.
Embrace it, yeah. So that way, at the moment, what I do, I make all the lures to order, and I do small cups and just inject a little bit extra to what I really need. But this machine can hold 9 litres of plastic hot, keep it hot. So all I've got to do is open the gate, inject, close the gate, put it aside, and I can do that. And then that's going to mean that I can do this stock for shops.
That $8,000 will save you a fortune in time.
Yeah, the reason I started to do it was because I was getting repetitive strain injury and
wanker's wrist.
Wanker's wrist, basically, by injecting.
Yeah.
So when I used to work on the docks with the dogs, I used to just go to the shop just to make sure my feet and knees are okay, because that is my life. When you're self-employed, that's your life. Yeah. If that doesn't work, then
you've got to have
I can't
longevity in
inject.
it, because yeah.
So I invested in one of these machines, so that's going to push forward. The bit that's difficult to replicate is the packaging, because that's the final bit. That's the final bit where it can all fall down.
Well, I mean, that's what's picked up.
Yeah. So if someone they haven't made it, it's not their name, they're just getting a wage, they're going to go, well, that's good enough. But you've got that. So even at that point, which is probably the lowest paid job, is the most important, because they're the ones that are packaging that final product, or I have to do all the QC before it gets to them to make sure it's okay.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But if Southern Plastics, they would actually give their packers a packet off the shelf, so they'd have all the samples on their shelf. So the Strike King Rage Core would come off there, that you're packaging these today, that's how it's laid out in the packet, that's how you do it. So it was like, okay, so you need one at that angle, one there, one there, one there, one there, done. And so they're all the same. And that's kind of how you got to do it. Will I get there? I don't know. I'm 6 years in. I used to
got this far.
Yeah.
You've broke the back of it now. Now it's like phase 2, phase 3 of the business.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I was really, as Andy on the podcast saying, you've changed. You've changed this last year. You've changed. I said, well, I've been rock bottom. I've been on my knees because I couldn't pay the mortgage, because it was that shit over winter. I've had that. And then you come through the other side of it and you go, okay, and?
Yeah.
And then
but you need those testing grounds.
Yeah.
I think you're not going to be a very resilient person if life's easy all the time.
No, exactly.
You have to have that.
Yeah. You need to dig yourself out of the shit.
Fuck.
You need to dig yourself out of the hole. And I did that. And then I also look at it, and small businesses don't last 6 years. But I've broken 6 years. I'm now past that. So now, in my mind,
even 6, is it? With some of those figures, 3,
2, isn't it?
Yeah, two and 3, and then like it's some crazy number, like 95% of them don't make it past 10 years.
Yeah. So thanks. But that's it. So for those first few years, I was really, really protective, and I had people bad mouthing me, and it was fucking awful, and just because they're dicks. You touched on it on your podcast, that I let them get to me, and it was like, but
never read the comments. Rogan says it. Never read the comments.
But you can take that back to like you were saying, your obsessiveness on things. That can happen. And we've said it. One bad comment can fuck your week up.
Yeah.
One positive comment can make your week.
Yeah.
And how we as individuals allow those emotions to affect us. You said, we touched on with Ben's episode, you could get that and it could really, really, really hit you that week, but that affects your manufacturing that week. It affects everything. Like I said it with flies, I would tie pipe flies. If I weren't in it and I had a bit of a stint where I was not in it at all, I couldn't tie to what I felt I could tie, and people were like, well, will you tie me this? And they were effectively chucking money at me, and I refused it because I couldn't do it because of that mindset, and that one comment can really fuck it up.
I'll repeat the Andy theory on those negative people online. So they've got nothing going on in their lives, they're in a dead-end job, their kids don't respect them, and their wife doesn't like them.
Yeah.
So all they've got in their life is negativity, and they look at these other people who are doing something with their lives that they really want to do, but because they've got so much negativity in their life, they can't go, oh, well done, mate.
No, it's just got to bring them down.
And that's what it is.
I had it once. I remember it once. It was years ago. There was a bit of turf throwing in it was in the very the start of like the new style UK competition fishing, and there was a load of mudslinging online, and I sat there with a load of mates, and I was actually in the Florida Keys at the time. I was in Leighton Long Key. We'd just been guiding. It was fucking beautiful weather.
You were doing okay.
And I remember saying to him, I just said it in total humour, and it came across a bit of a dickish comment, but it was actually true. I said, I can't be bothered to reply, man. I'm just being held my final drink in 30-degree heat, and it was beautiful. Yeah. You're sitting there on your keyboard pissing down in England. It's like, I'm the one that's going fishing, being paid to go fishing with the biggest brands, Costa Del Mar and people like that were backing me, living my dream. And I said, I'm not going to reply to you, mate, because I've got to put my feet up and just sit in the sun for 10 minutes to cool down.
That's how you have to answer that.
Yeah, it was meant as a total dick comment, but it was fact. It was, I'm not going to reply to you, mate, because I'm sitting in paradise after being paid 200 quid for the day to live in paradise and catch people fish. And you know what? And it's a shame that you got to get to those sort of twos and fro's, but
it's just people's human nature, isn't it? There's
Don't
nothing.
read the comments.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you have to, but there's.
I just laugh.
I don't reply to them. That's my thing. I like
don't
them
anymore. No, I don't.
I just like them. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah. No, I think you've
You
done
stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine.
I think you've done really, really well, and I think
Thank
you. I mean, like I say, your name was mentioned a lot when we mentioned about doing some more guests. I think people will learn a lot from episode of how in depth you are in the brand itself.
And you must be good because I got your hotel.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And we've only done that for
handful,
Mick
yeah.
Ward, Dave Lewis. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all we've done.
I appreciate that.
Will Parkinson.
Yeah.
That's all I've done it for.
But yeah, so I think
you're up there. You're up there on the list. You're up there.
I think
on the
you've
list.
done really well, and I think you've come across really well.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed the chat. I've really enjoyed everything about it. I love a backstory like this. I like it where somebody's gone, you know what, I think I can do better. I've got the balls to do it. I'm going to take it on the chin when it goes wrong, and I'm going to keep plugging in. A lot of people would have quit. They would have gone, I can't. A lot of people have gone, like last winter when you were saying I can't pay my mortgage, a load of people have gone, I'm going to work for Amazon.
Yeah.
And that would have been the end of it. And it takes a huge amount of character in someone to be able to do things like that, because would still be living in caves if those people didn't come out of the cave and go and do those things.
Yeah.
A lot of people would have stayed inside the cave and got ate by the tiger anyway, so you might as well
exactly.
just crack on.
Yeah. And the first person to drink milk, weird.
Oh fuck, I've never even thought about that.
That's quality.
Oh my god,
That's quality, mate.
that's just blown my mind, that has.
But I mean, we're a platform to celebrate. We had guests say that they wanted like the UK born and bred industry. I think you fucking nailed that in one with what you're doing. We're a platform to celebrate and talk about things, and
thank you.
and yeah, I mean, we appreciate the fact that you've come down. I mean, it's a long way to travel. The pub wasn't even open when you got here, which I mean, I'm devastated about.
It's open now, though.
But it's well worth.
And it's only over there.
Coming out of comfort zones, you know, I am introvert, even though I'm quite okay with talking to people and everything else. But you just got to get out of your comfort zone. Just got to do it. Just got to do it. And the opportunity that you provided for me to come down and talk to you guys and to gift you the box and everything else and get your feedback and ideas and everything else with what you're doing, that's amazing, because you've jumped on something that didn't exist. This you've jumped on, which didn't exist.
This is his fault.
You've done this and it didn't exist.
This is all his fault. He turned around to me when we should do a podcast. Who am I? Like, I'm nobody. Like, how am I going to sit here and go and find all these fishing guests? This is how Danny come along. Yeah. Although you won't recognise him as Danny without that beard, but how this 6-year-old man-child turned up, like he knew all the people in the industry that people wanted to talk to. I wouldn't have had I didn't even know who Mick Ward was. Like, I was in my own little lane, doing my thing, just no idea about this whole lure fishing scene's been an absolute learning curve for me. I just thought you
used to wear only high vis on the end of the pier with your unmatching rods.
I would be on the Isles of Scilly on Gimbal Point, very quietly slinging some sidewinders on a really light rod into oblivion. That was my lure fishing. The rest of it was sneaking into a margin somewhere, trying to nab a carp out, or sneaking into power station ponds in the Netherlands, or fishing a nature reserve in Belgium with everyone shouting at us, go, "We're English, mate, sorry, don't know what you're on about." And they tell you English and be like, "Nah, I still don't get it."
Well, when he's arrested later on for fishing in Brixton Harbour when he's not allowed in there, I mean, that'd be...
You're...
no, you'll be all right now. Torquay's the one you got to worry about.
Really?
Yeah, they're a bit funny about it. I've been kicked out of there many times.
They all fish on the end.
Yeah. Hold on and things like that, but when you get into where the sort of thing that they want to be doing, they're straight on you.
I'll give you the code for the gate, mate. Don't worry about it. Awesome. yeah, that's fine. Well, that's a good one to end on.
Yeah, Tom, thank you so much for coming down, mate. Much appreciated, mate.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'll be following all the stuff. I'm looking forward to following the journey as it goes on. Yeah. And if you do ever go down the route of an injection moulding house in the UK, hit me up, because I'm super interested in that stuff
Yeah,
as well.
brilliant. Yeah, just let me know what the material is and we can have a look at it.
I'll just give you the material.
We
because I don't know what it is. You have to mount it and do your
we have
alchemy thing.
1 inch species ticketing lures, little 2.5 inch core baits, 12-inch tuna squids. They go hand in hand. I mean, what's not to like?
No, we go small. We go 6-inch, 9-inch, 12-inch, 15-inch, 17-inch, and 21-inch. Yeah, they're the sizes. 17s and 21s we're probably going to drop. 15s are good. 9 inches being the killer this year. The massive killer.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. But yeah, thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for coming down. Much appreciated.
Go follow the FFS Lures social media. Go and hit them all up. Go and hit our social medias up as well.
Like, subscribe. Share.
There's probably some other stuff I've got to say, but we're a little bit out of swing because we haven't done it for a while. And I've been hauling tuna, so yeah, we'll catch it up on the next one. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Cheers.